The Exorcist was changed to protect the.
I don't see it. There we go.
There's a 30-second delay. So.
Oh, that's right.
We apologize for the delay.
Yep. New software, guys. We're working on it.
There's a 30-second delay. So.
Oh, there we go. Oh, we have to go live still.
Delay.
Yep. New software, guys. We're working on it. We'll have to go live. Oh, there we go. Oh, we have to go live still. Hey guys, welcome back to Vanishing Gates. As always, I'm your host Jay, and with me is
The 30-second delay, Jack.
30-second delay Jack. I like that. Seth is in chat, but he's out of town on personal business. Getting hair plugs? I don't know. What does he do this time?
I'm hopefully getting hair plugs. His hair's looking pretty bad.
Okay,
Says the guy with the giant bald spot back.
So let's talk. We got new software, guys. It's pretty exciting. We're using this new studio software thing, and it's taking a little getting used to. But if you'll notice that we have our actual name up in the corner there, which is kind of a neat change of pace.
That's a first.
It is a first.
First.
And so cigar of the show. It's a Padromo Reserve Champagne Noir. Excellent cigar. I like it.
Didn't smell like a cigar when you lit it up, though.
Yeah, no, disclaimer, when it first was lit, it smelled exactly like marijuana for about 10 minutes. And then it started smelling like a cigar again. So if I die, it's because I have severe allergy to marijuana. So, I mean, maybe I'll come back as part of the topic for tonight's show. But, so we get these wonderful cigars from our friends at Myrtlewood Liquor, John's Fine Cigars, located in Eureka at 1648 Myrtle Avenue. And you can check them out at johnsfinecigars.com as well. Great staff, friendly people, awesome selection.
Oh, yeah,
Beautiful humidor.
One of the best.
Oh man, and they have such a stash of cigars in there.
Definitely the best in Humboldt
all the
County,
time. They'll special order stuff for you too. They're pretty cool about that. So we have another sponsor for the show I want to mention, Cotton Studios. Check them out on Facebook. You can go to their Facebook page, Cotton Studios, and like them, follow them, subscribe to whatever Jason's doing. He's making some really cool stuff. We're about that season where people are starting to prep for Halloween, believe it or not. Guys like me and guys that do like professional haunted houses. I do a home haunt, so all my stuff's at home. But the pros, you know, they're going to want the stuff that he makes. The home people too. Really cool products. So check him out, Cotton Studios. We have a couple contests going on I want to run over real quick. We have our banner contest still going on because no one has submitted a single entry. I know you guys are artistic.
Artistic or...
Don't. No.
Oh, okay. Never.
I know you're artistic, so we really want to see those banner designs coming in so we can figure out what to throw up on the banner page and give you a good shout out for your artwork. The other contest we have as well, we're building our soundboard, which you guys can now hear. Yeah.
Can you hear it? That's the question.
Yeah, dude, it works. And for the soundboard, we're looking for a really good horror movie style stream. So send those MP3s into our email.
You know that's on a loop. You have to actually turn it off, right?
It's on a loop. Send it into our email at vanishinggates@gmail.com. That's with 2 G's, not just one, right?
Yeah, because we're missing one right now, too. So it's only 2 G's.
We're missing a G, so we're only 2 G's instead of 3 G's.
Yes.
That's the nerdiest joke you've made your entire life.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's probably not. The other thing, too, don't forget to like and follow the page. That way we have a good idea of how many people are actually enjoying our programming, and you get these fancy messages that say when we go live, so you know that on Saturday nights, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, you can be watching us live. Now, the new software here is actually recording this episode separately, so I'm going to upload that to YouTube as well later for those of you who do the YouTube thing. And share the video if you would. Share it on your feeds, tell your friends about it, get them in on the conversation. Don't forget, if you have great stories and encounters with the supernatural, the unexplained, you've given Bigfoot a haircut or a back rub, or smoked reefer with him, send us an email to that gmail.com thing again. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at Vanishing Gates. I got one now. I don't really use it much, but if you start tweeting and retweeting, I'll start tweeting more. That sounds like a lot of tweeting.
I mean, you could just start retweeting now.
That's a tweeting good time. Yeah, you can retweet this so people see it. That'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, tweet us out. Just go. Just do it now. Escape.
Patreon's still in the works. I don't know if it's up yet. You guys check and see if Patreon is something you can actually become a Patreon with. We're going to actually, I'm probably going to get some bumper stickers made here pretty soon and send those out. I don't know what you do with it.
No, I don't think they're called Patreons. They're called patrons.
Patreon is a website.
I know, but the people who donate would be, or
They're
as far as I've
Patreons.
seen, they're referred to as patrons.
I think they're actually Patreons. I think that's how they refer to it on the site, as like a cool little inside thing there. I didn't come up with it, bro. That's all right. Seth calls our viewers vanishers. Yeah.
All right. Nothing for that.
Oh my god. So yeah, go to Patreon because we could use some money. You like that one? All right. So, topic of the show tonight, as we previously discussed, is going to be ghosts, poltergeists, and hauntings of some fashion or another. What are you thinking there? What's the first topic you want to cover here?
I mean, that depends. What would you like to go with? I mean, we could talk about the Poltergeist movie, which I was going to do a live review of the Poltergeist movie, but it turns out that I am not talented by myself. So I know a lot about that movie now. And then we've got The Demon House. I could tell you a little about Larry, but I don't know much about the story of the Lost Boy Larry.
Okay, well, let's start with that because we don't know a ton about it, so it's something we could research later, but just bring up and hash over right now.
Okay, well,
so what's this all about?
Okay, so this is kind of about ghosts. Some people theorize that it's the spirit of a child that was talking through a CB radio, and it was a massive hunt for a child in New Mexico. God, I don't even remember the date. Honestly, that's one of the me and dates. I'm bad with them. But
I wouldn't date him.
He was a little boy, and he apparently, according to his story over the CB radio, was that his father and him had been going out duck hunting, I believe it was, and the truck had flipped, and his father was laying on top of him and not moving, and then basically for the next 3 days, this little boy they noticed was getting.
I just realized I'm breaking one of my cardinal rules about free advertisement right now.
Everybody loves Deadpool though.
I know, but I'm
the cup
I didn't even realize I was wearing the same shirt.
Cup in the shirt.
I almost grabbed my reindeer banging mug to bring for the show tonight.
Thank you for the share. Thank you for that share.
Awesome. Thank you,
David.
Appreciate it. Gramajo?
Gramajo? Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, but thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Guys,
fantastic of you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Larry was lost out in the middle of the New Mexico desert, and all they got for 3 days was this little boy talking over the radio, or the CB actually, in an attempt to help them find him and his father. And did we just freeze?
I think we might have had a signal loss for a second there. We're picking it back up though. We're back.
Let's just wait just half a second just to make sure everything comes back.
Why now?
It's my fear is of the computer.
I think we're okay. I think we're all right. I think we just had a brief signal interruption.
Okay. All right. So, anyway, little Larry, it was really weird. People kept hearing it. Truckers, they were out. They had a massive manhunt.
Man search.
They had a man search, and it was very manly. There was lots of basketball and football. Anyways, aside from that horrible tongue twister, that wasn't a tongue twister. They had a manhunt where they used helicopters and the police. I think they even called the National Guard. But they never found the kid. They couldn't find him. But over 3 days, he got weaker and weaker, and his father didn't move for 3 days. But eventually, they actually found the truck. They believed they found the truck, but nobody was in it, and there was no hint that anyone had been in it.
Okay.
Like there was nothing. And so some people theorize that it was somebody that had died a long time ago.
Okay.
And someone is calling you on your phone.
We're going to call in. Let's see. It looks like it's Seth. Nope, he hung up.
Call me, Seth.
Yeah, call the Vanishing Gates account. He's got
call Jack. Call Jack.
Yeah, just call Jack. It's fine. Anyway.
Anywho. So they found the truck, but there was no evidence that Larry had been in the truck, or they weren't positive. But it was this truck that he described, as far as they could tell.
Yeah.
But the thing that was really messed up about it was the fact that they had people who were helping, but then they had people that were coming on the CB radios telling him to die because they thought he was a hoaxer. They thought this little kid that clearly was a child was hoaxing, and they told this child, whether or not it was a joke, to die.
What?
Yes, this is something that happened.
There you go. There's Seth.
People are terrible sometimes.
No, put on speaker.
Uh,
Hey, what's
you
up?
there?
Yo, you're on
there?
with Vanishing Gates, Seth.
What's going on, you guys?
Nothing, we're just doing a show. What are you doing?
Not much. Just up here in Tahoe right now. I want to kind of let you guys know that your signal's coming in pretty good.
Good.
I don't know what you guys are seeing on your end, but it was coming in okay.
Okay.
Well, we have a 30-second delay.
Yeah.
The new technology gives us about Oh, go ahead.
We do have a delay, huh?
Yes, we have a delay.
Not a huge one. It's it's because of the new software. It records first and then plays after.
And say that. Stop talking, damn it! You talk too much.
It is a talk show.
I just want to let all of our banishers know, that's right, banishers, because that's who they are. Let them all know that I'm up here in Tahoe, and I am going to be scoping out the surrounding area, see if I can find something that's creepy, haunted, see if I can't figure out anything that's going on around here in these parts.
Nice.
Maybe find Bigfoot while I'm up here, you guys.
In Tahoe?
Bring him back. Put him on. We'll have him on the show.
Yeah, on the show. We'll do an interview. It'd be great.
Right, that's the whole plan. That's the whole plan. I just want to give you guys a shout out and talk to you guys real quick. I will see you guys.
Wait, are you making everybody there watch the show or what, bro?
Am I what?
Making everybody watch the show?
No, right now we're actually celebrating my niece's birthday.
Oh.
We'll put the show on the background.
Yeah, it's great. Jack won't say the F word.
I can't.
It's a good show.
We'll talk about how Santa Claus is fake. And there's no Easter Bunny.
Spoiler alert!
Oh, too soon? All right. Talk to you later, Seth. Thanks for calling. See you next week. All right. Well, that was Seth, our other host.
Which you can hear because Seth is currently watching, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, he's in there somewhere in the chat. What was that?
Oh, no.
Okay. Okay. We're trying to become more like NC-17 instead of X-rated. You know that, right?
We're not X-rated yet, and until we get the proper people in, we're not going to be.
Oh, my gosh. Anyhow, so go ahead and tell the story. Little Larry, the CB radio ghost kid.
Okay, so that's basically where it ends. Is I was just letting you guys know.
So how do you know he's a ghost?
People don't. They think that he was real. They think it happened to someone. Either
and that his signal was going through, his voice was going through the signal or something like that?
That was the theory, is that maybe he had died a long time ago, or he had died for a period. He had already died, and he was just talking through the CB like a spirit or something.
Well, there's some of that ghost frequency where supposedly ghosts can, communicate. And that's why they have the ghost box things. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get one, and we're going to set it on this table one day and just use it during the show to see if we get anything, because it skips through radio stations real fast.
Those things... The one problem with that is when it does that, you can pick up signals, and what's the term? Is you can hear what you want to hear.
Well, it's kind of like when you see something in some of these pictures and images. It's pareidolia kind of thing, but an audio version of that.
Yeah.
Well, okay. At the same time, though, Dave Schrader from Darkness Radio had Beyond the Darkness Now, had a really freaking awesome encounter using a ghost box. And there was no way, I'm not going to say what the ghost said. You guys go listen to Beyond the Darkness and check out their back episodes. You can pick it up still. And those guys are really funny. They're way more professional than we are and way more knowledgeable. But, he gets the words that were said are words you're never going to hear on the radio. So there's no way it could have just been a coincidence in that direction.
Actually, one of the things that I'm going to talk about, which is the Demon House, I watched a YouTuber that I discovered because I was doing research on this. And it was Paranormal Captivity. She's actually pretty cool. She studies a lot.
She's a YouTuber or what?
Yeah, she's a YouTuber.
Okay, so let's give her a shout out. I'm sure she's pretty cool. What's her name?
Her YouTube name is Paranormal Captivity.
Yeah, and if for some reason she ends up watching this, hey, we're giving you a free shout out because we're all in this together trying to do this YouTube thing.
Us and our 20 viewers, or 50 or 60 viewers.
If we're lucky. our 5 really good viewers. Even our co-host isn't even going to finish watching the show tonight.
Shit, he's going to go away and drink something.
But
But no, she's pretty good. She does some good videos. Like, she does Ouija and stuff like that, which is, you know, as everybody knows that watch the show consistently, not my thing.
No, you don't believe in that stuff, though, so it's totally cool.
Yeah, you know what else? I don't believe in getting eaten by sharks. I don't dive into the pool where the shark is. So
Usually they keep sharks in the ocean.
doesn't matter.
Or tanks.
Unless they have lasers on their head.
I don't know if
in a
anybody
pool.
keeps them in a pool.
Look,
hard to do a saltwater
if you
pool.
start questioning my stupid statement, then it just breaks down, okay?
Kind of the point.
Just let it go.
You're right. Okay, I understand your parable about not jumping in with sharks. You could have just said that.
There we go. Don't jump in the pool that doesn't have sharks or shouldn't have sharks.
We did a Ouija episode, and you were like, "Oh yeah, it's a stupid thing. It's not blah blah blah. It's not
I
real."
don't believe it.
I don't believe in it. So why are you scared of it?
Let me put it to you like this. Just because, okay, so it comes back to, the way I see it is this. There's a cave, right?
Uh-huh.
And you know that bears live in this area.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a good percent chance that there's a bear in that cave.
Bears
Now,
do it in the cave.
you don't have proof that there's a bear in that cave. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to think to yourself, I want to explore that cave. Let's do this.
If I want to explore a cave, I'm going to explore a cave because I'm a man, damn it.
I'm not if there's bears in the area.
We're taking you Sasquatch hunting, so what are you worried about? There's bears out there. We're going to be armed.
I'm not going.
Yes, you are. You're going on our Bigfoot expedition.
You're going to have
Guys,
to drag
by the way,
my ass.
keep it on a side note. Keep an eye out for that. We're going to have probably some kind of crowdsourcing for that because I can't afford to do that. I'm paying for all this out of pocket, which it gets expensive. Not to feel bad for me, but we like to give you guys as much free content as
I
possible.
feel bad for him.
Okay, so the other thing with the where you're talking about the ghost, we were talking about the ghost signal and the kid with the CV and stuff. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna have to look that story up because I haven't heard of that.
It was hard for me to find. Like, I had to, like...
Oh, well, are you sure it's not like a creepypasta?
You know what? No, because I've heard it on... The way I heard it, the first time I heard it was, these were true events, and it happened in New Mexico, supposedly. It was an event. Like,
Okay,
it was something that actually happened, according
it's on the
to...
news and stuff.
But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I did not find an article
Oh,
about it. So.
that's right, Dave. Thanks for the reminder in chat. Someone's got to do the truffle shuffle.
No.
Yeah, truffle shuffle.
I don't know how
truffle
to
shuffle.
do it!
Google it.
I still don't
How
know
do you
how
not
to
know how to
do
do
it!
the truffle shuffle?
Because I didn't look it up! I figured, hey, look, our viewers probably don't want to see a fat man dancing around jiggling his belly fat.
I don't think you know our audience that well.
I think I know our audience very well.
I don't think you do.
No.
It's either that or you're doing the Coke bottle challenge next week.
Is that like a 2 girls, 1 cup kind of thing?
No, but Google it
I'm
after
not
the
doing
show.
that.
Google it after the show. It's good.
I'm not doing that.
It's good you do that too. Oh, man. So, being that Jack is dropping the bag this week, next week we're going to have something even more humiliating for him to do. Because he didn't learn the truffle shuffle like a good co-host would do.
I was busy studying!
I'm going to make you draw like a smiley face. Duct tape shoe on head.
Look, I don't duct tape YouTubers. Shake it, move.
Yeah, so in chat, for those who can't see the chat, one of our listeners just told me,
Thank
shake
you.
it moves. You know what moves are, right?
No, what are they?
Oh, just Google it. Oh, man, we got more people saying truffle shuffle. You better figure it out.
Oh, fucking God. Yeah.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
Didn't say it.
It's disappointing. I'm disappointed in you that you're not going to do the truffle shuffle right now.
Look, do you guys want a half-cocked truffle shuffle, or will you give me at least this week to study it, and I will do it, I promise. Just let me study it, because I don't want to mess it up. It's a great movie and a great moment in a movie. I just can't ruin it.
All right, I'm going to give you a week to do the truffle shuffle, to learn the truffle shuffle, and next week you're going to give us a very, very professional, well done truffle
Hold on.
shuffle.
But
But
hold
you're
on.
going to write vanishing gates on your forehead in Sharpie.
I want to do it on a separate thing, because in case there's people who want to watch the show and they don't want to see a fat man jiggle their body fat, I'm not going to do it on the main show.
Oh,
I'll do it
want to see
before.
that. Everyone wants to see that.
I will do a small segment with
You're
you
going to do
before
a
the show.
separate segment of you doing the
Just the truffle shuffle before the show, so that way those who wish to see a fat man jiggle his belly
Okay.
can.
Okay, we're going to do this. Next week, guys, don't let me forget. If you have to email me or message me on Facebook, remind me, or tweet. He's doing the truffle shuffle on a special podcast video for those of you who usually watch, are your regular viewers. This is going to be gross and awesome all at once.
For the word of warning, for those who don't like hairy bellies, I'm not covered in,
You should shave it.
I am not shaving my belly.
Slug love chunk.
Have you ever seen a fat man with no hair? It's a stretch mark city you just don't want to see. It's disturbing.
I'm not going to look, but our viewers are going to want to see it. I already know that. I can see them throwing dollar bills at you right now.
If they're going to throw dollar bills at me, yeah.
I mean, they're not. It's going to be hypothetical.
Throw dollar bills at me.
With glitter.
With glitter.
Oh, yeah.
Just buy a bag of glitter. You can stand over me dumping it as I do it.
With glitter.
This just got a whole lot worse, I fear.
This is what you get for prematurely annihilating a podcast.
I know I killed the podcast last week, okay? I killed it. I know it was my fault. Why are you tormenting me over this? I beat myself up about it more than... And you know what? We did a great first segment. So
the first segment wasn't bad.
And I carried that first segment.
If anything, the CIA did it to stop us from talking.
Let's not talk about the CIA.
I'm not going to say what we were talking about.
Talk about that episode.
The government is there as your friend.
That's like mentioning the men who happen to be feline companions. Dog. It's a curse. Every time we can mention those things, our show goes bad.
Oh, yeah, those guys. Man's best friend.
That which shall not be named.
One of these days, I'm going to get Linda S. Godfried on the show to talk about that, though. Because she is the one that knows about it.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. So, all right. The other thing, I'm talking about like the spiritual, the voice of the ghost and stuff that travels. They think too that some people think if you lay in front of a fan, that you'll actually be able to hear the ghost talk through the fan. Something to do with how the energy travels or something like that. I don't actually know. But I do want to get a ghost box. And we need a Vanishing Gates Ouija board. I think I'm going to make a Vanishing Gates Ouija board to hang on the wall.
I don't want a Ouija board anywhere near me, fool.
I won't make a planchette. I'll just make the Ouija board.
Oh, that's
like a picture.
It's the planchette that does it every time.
It is
not
the
anything
planchette.
else.
That's my theory there. Or the fact that it's not even real, and I don't know why you're stressing about it.
I don't want to.
Even Seth was like, man, I don't know if we should do that. I don't believe in that, but we probably shouldn't do that. So everybody does, dude. It's pretty funny. Guys will walk around with EMF detectors and try to get EVPs, but they won't use a Ouija board. It's pretty profound. It's the same darn thing. You're still trying to communicate with the dead and the supernatural. Just saying. I'm just saying. Ouija board.
I guess, but
we should live stream using a Ouija board.
We should not live stream.
I will record it while you and Seth use the Ouija board.
That will not happen.
Just make sure you close the board out at the end of it. Remember, we did an episode on this.
Can we do it in your house?
No, we're doing it right here.
Let's do it directly in your bedroom.
You want to do that stuff in my house? The house that you're scared to stay in because you think it's friggin' haunted?
I don't like your house. Just get off my back.
Okay, whatever. I have a lovely house.
Jerk.
Anyway, so
I got nothing on it.
What's your next topic? I know you had a couple more.
Oh, I gotta carry everything, don't I?
Well, no, I'm interjecting. What about Poltergeist? Want to talk about Poltergeist?
The movie?
Yeah, let's talk about the movie.
Okay, well.
So I'm pretty sure, I know it's a movie, guys, but it was based on, I believe it was based on the Enfield Poltergeist. I could be wrong. And I think Ed and Lorraine Warren dealt with the Enfield Poltergeist, right?
Yeah, they dealt with it.
That was their thing? Okay.
I have to agree with the commenter. It's I don't believe it's...
You don't think it's based on that? It's based on a real story.
Do you know what the Enfield haunting is?
No, I don't. I was hoping you'd enlighten me. I just keep hearing about it.
Okay, well, the Enfield haunting, I can't get too... I don't know enough about it to really get into it.
Is that the English one with the two girls?
Yeah, it's the one
I do know about
the young girls.
Yeah, the young girls, and they're jumping up and down on the bed and acting like they're possessed with poltergeist activity. Right?
Supposedly, yes.
All right, so what's a poltergeist?
A poltergeist is, and this is where it differs from like a ghost. A poltergeist has different activities than a ghost. A ghost is usually a residual haunting, which is something that just repeats itself, essentially.
That's a repeating phantasm. I saw Ghostbusters. What about a Class 3 Roman Vapor?
Shut up! If you say something about it,
yeah, I'll tell you about poltergeist. It comes from the German word meaning noisy ghost.
How nice.
That's what poltergeist means, noisy ghost. There's actually a pretty darn good area of thought, though, that say that poltergeist activity isn't even ghosts at all. It's more psychokinetic.
Well, that's the area of thought I was looking into. Was people were saying that it's mostly it's usually based off of people's heavy emotions, like someone going through abuse or trauma of some sort.
Usually, it's when girls start to do their first
stress.
transition into becoming women. Is when a lot of the situations. There are cases where it's boys involved, but normally it's girls and women that are hitting their
cycling
inability to have babies anymore. Menopause, that one.
I
don't know why they call it pause when it just comes to a dead halt. Call it
Men a halt.
It's not like they're gonna pause and reset.
This went down a different route. Let's talk about this all of a sudden.
This is what I do all day. Is think about crap like this. It's why.
Anyway, so poltergeist. I think the difference between poltergeist is predominantly that poltergeists are able to respond with you. They interact with people. They attempt to scare people sometimes.
Well, that's one area. So you're talking about the idea of the poltergeists that are actually a being, a sentient.
Yes, they're sentient. They're a spirit that's capable of thought. They're a spirit that's capable.
It's like an intelligent haunting.
Yes, it's an intelligent haunting that can throw things. It brings like smells with it. Like you'll smell different things.
Well, I mean that opens the door for like almost any haunted house story you hear is all poltergeist activity.
But not necessarily, considering, like I said, a ghost can be different. A ghost isn't capable of being. As far as I can tell, all hauntings are ghosts, but not all hauntings are poltergeists. So, for instance, a house can have a ghost in it that is it moves stuff. It has small abilities because it's not.
Seriously sounds like something you read off a personality test.
It is a personality test.
All poltergeists are ghosts, but not all ghosts are poltergeists.
Anyway, so essentially, the poltergeist can move stuff. It can throw things. It can get more aggressive because you're not paying attention to it.
So, what if you bought a haunted KFC? Would it be full of poltergeists?
Whoa, that's a movie.
Is it really?
Yes, Poltergeist is a movie.
Someone did not make Poltergeist.
It's a movie. It is the schlockiest movie.
No, that would be Thanksgiving, actually.
Nope.
And that's about turkey.
It's Poltergeist, and it is.
There's a movie called Poltergeist.
Yes, it is spectacularly bad.
We're gonna have to watch Poltergeist.
Yes, this is Thanksgiving, I think.
I tell you what, guys.
We're gonna watch Thanksgiving and Poltergeist.
We're not gonna watch Thanksgiving because here's what I want to do. I want to put it up on Twitter when we watch this. So we can all sit down. We'll go to the live chat on the website. By then, we should be up and running without a problem. Guys, sign them into our live chat on vanishinggates.com. We'll do is we'll all watch the movie at the same time and comment to each other and chat back and forth about how ridiculous it is. I don't even know what that was, what I just said. I just made it ridiculous.
His avoidance maneuvers were amazing.
Ridiculous.
It's just like the Millennium Falcon when it listed lazily to the left to maneuver away from the Star Destroyer.
What are you talking about? I almost made you spit your soda.
Yes, you did.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty funny. All right, so the movie Poltergeist, that was definitely making it seem like the poltergeists were these intelligent hauntings versus the idea of the cybernetic
You know what's
activity.
interesting, actually, is poltergeist, according to the movie, it's not actually a poltergeist.
It's ghosts.
No, it's actually a demon that is holding the poltergeist.
Is it a demon?
There.
I don't remember it being a demon.
It's if you
I haven't watched it.
If you actually read the definition, or if you look at how poltergeist and demonic activity are, poltergeists can throw things. They can appear as creatures, but only demons, as far as I've seen in reading and stuff like that.
Poltergeists can appear as creatures.
They can appear as different forms of things, like humans, old hags, things like that.
Well,
but they can't appear as like.
Old hag goes back to the sleep paralysis thing, which we need to do a whole episode on sleep paralysis.
But the thing about it is that they don't usually appear as a demonic form, like with horns and stuff like that. Those are usually only demonic based.
Well, I wouldn't even think that demonic presences would have the idiocracy to show up with horns and a tail and hoof and feet.
Well, first off, that would just be ridiculous.
A demon is like a fallen angel when it comes to the original term of demon.
Unless it's using human psyche
to mess with you.
Unless it's human psyche.
Okay, but why wouldn't it just mislead you instead of just coming as some scary monster?
Because demons, particularly, they feed off human emotion.
Actually, I say this entire thing, but in reality, when I have come in contact with demonic presences, which I have, they look pretty freaking mortifying. They didn't look like angels.
Yes, so they use your psyche against you. And I believe they utilize, like I said, they utilize the images you know. And on top of that, they feed off emotion, heavy emotion. And one of the heaviest emotions we can fear that is really difficult to get rid of when it happens is just straight up fear. So if they can get you afraid, it just doesn't vanish. You can go from happy to sad in a second. You can go from happy to fear. But when you have fear, it's one of those natural instincts of survival that just does not go away rapidly. You need to leave an area, but you never feel quite safe. So they utilize one of those things that you just can't ditch to basically use it like an energy field. I don't quite know how they take it in, mind you. But I believe that's the difference between poltergeist and demon.
How they take it in.
They take it in hard and fast.
Whoa!
Well, that's how they get it. Otherwise, how would it slow and easy? That's just horrible, dude. They would never get anything done that way. Don't be ageist, hags are people too.
Oh my god. What's ageist? Is that one of those made-up trigger things now?
It's one of those made up words. Yes.
Can we stop with the made up trigger words already? Preposterous. Anyway. Damn young whippersnappers.
It's saying that I'm
silly
discriminating
terms.
against old people.
Oh, well, that makes sense, because you always do. Oh, okay, anyway.
Never TMI.
So
Anyway.
Poltergeist, if you guys haven't seen the movie Poltergeist right now, I don't know what to tell you, because we're going to talk about
Not
it.
the new
probably going to be spoilers. You haven't seen that one either.
I
I don't know
haven't
if I can watch that. I'm probably going to sit down and try.
I'll give it a shot. You know, the problem here is that I bet you, like, I haven't seen it, but if you guys have seen it, let us know. Like, most movies when they remake, they go for jump scares because they go for the cheap scare because they can't do what
did
previous
that
movies
too,
did.
though.
Not really.
Yes, in the pool scene.
The pool
The tree came through the window.
But it wasn't. It was
grabbing.
You knew it was going to come. It wasn't a jump scare because you knew what was going to happen.
You know what movie always gets me?
It
with
was
the jump
a
scare?
build up.
You know what movie always gets me with the jump scare every time, even though I'm expecting it and watching, like, okay, here it comes. Crocodile Dundee. When she's going to fill up her canteen and the crocodile comes out and just the gator comes out and snaps and gets her canteen. Every time that gator pops out, I'm like, yeah, I knew it was going to happen. What's wrong with me? Every time since I was a little kid.
Maybe it's because you're afraid of gators.
No, I'm not scared of alligators. I don't live in the Everglades or Australia or anywhere
You're afraid
else.
of our gators.
Afraid of our gators?
You're afraid of our gators.
Afraid of gators. That sounds like a really bad band.
Vanishing gators. The gators.
Oh man,
The
no.
Florida Gators?
We're not going to do the vanishing gators. That's just preposterous. Until we buy a sports team and we're millionaires.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
Probably not. Anyway, mostly because I'd have to buy a hockey team. Oh, I'm not going to buy a football team.
why? Yeah, you'd have to pay a lot of money to buy a football team.
That's exactly
You
what
know
I'm
the Buffalo Bills when they sold originally.
This isn't sports chat. Save that for you.
I know it's not sports chat, but this is freaking hilarious. The person who owns the Bills currently basically played dimes for it because it was when football wasn't really, big. And so he paid like $30,000 for it or something. He's like multi-millionaire
like 800
now.
years old. If
No, this is back in like the 60s.
Okay, so Poltergeist movie, they move into this house. It's built on an Indian burial ground, which you don't find out till later, so spoilers.
Damn it, man.
Well, dude, the movie's been out for freaking what?
Spoiler alert!
20 some odd years? 26 years? When did it come out?
82.
82? So, yeah, it's been out for 30 plus years, dude.
Yeah.
If they haven't seen it by now, I don't know what to tell you. There's spoilers.
There is spoiler. We're going to talk about it right now. Spoiler alert for Poltergeist. So, the movie actually, it confuses me, like, how these ghosts, like, got into the world through a television, by the way.
Well, because of electricity. So, basically, it wasn't so much that... That's not how they got through. They were getting into the house without it. Remember, because the chairs were moving and stuff and stacking up, and she'd move the chair down, it would magnetically move across the floor when it first started happening.
Except it all started happening because they had already been there. You actually listen to talk, they've been there for like 5 years already.
No, they had just moved in.
No, they had been there for 5 years.
I thought they just... Oh, it's the second movie.
If you remember, when you listen to him talking to his boss, he says your daughter was born there, and she's 5 in the movie. Or Carol Ann is 5 years old in the movie. So they'd already been there for 5 years.
Okay, so here's the theory then. Maybe that it was the same. It was triggered off of Carolyn. I forget how. I have to watch that movie again. Dang it!
No, what it was they actually explain it is the signals from a source with white noise and stuff. It's not receiving a signal.
Okay,
so essentially they pump their own signal through the television to allow them to enter the real world.
Okay,
well, so what happens is they utilize the white noise.
Well, because white noise is like.
Can we talk about the magical remote though?
In a second. Cam Perry in chat's asking, what about the new Poltergeist movie? And I have no idea what's going on with that. Cam, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah,
if you've seen it, go ahead and
spoil the crap.
Tell us some stuff about it in chat and as we see it. Because we have a delay, guys, because we're,
like I said, when I said at the start, when I said 30-second delay, I wasn't talking about...
I don't think it's really 30 seconds. I think it's more like 10 or 15.
Yeah, it's like a 15-second delay, but
still.
We'll get there. Yeah.
They went through the TV because they were attracted to the energy it gave off.
No, that's what the explanation from the guy in the movie is.
So
is that it utilizes the radio signal.
That's like the whole thing. It's always like the ghosts when they're like hauntings are draining the batteries from camcorders and investigators, draining the batteries because they need that energy because there's not enough presence there for their energy. Like there's still energy, but they don't have enough energy to keep going without having their physical body. Because your body, I think, here's my theory, if all this stuff is going on the way it sounds, your body runs off electricity. It burns fuel and runs off partial electricity. That's what keeps your heart going, what keeps your brain going is electrical current. Okay?
Yeah, I get. Well, we're made up of electrodes.
So yeah, but you think about it, if we have a body and we have a soul, we have two kinds of energy coming in. We have our spirit energy, and then we have our physical energy from our body. Our body is producing all this energy until it expires, and part of the soul is left without that conduit, constant conduit for electricity.
Well, that's one of the
Does that
ideas
make
of the
sense?
human battery is that we're basically what is it, like 70-something% water, and then we're
we're a
electricity,
giant bag of electricity
calcium,
and water. That's it.
we're a massive.
That's why if you stand
we're a
too
conduit
close,
of electricity.
Well, that's why if you stand too close to a radio, sometimes it'll mess with the signal.
Yeah.
Because you're a big an antenna, basically. So, like, what was I trying to... I think that's kind of like the whole thing, because the soul, I think, which is what some people contend are the ghosts and the supernatural phenomena and hauntings and stuff, or the remains of the remnants of what's left when your body goes. Your soul hangs out for a while. I actually had one person was talking about one podcast I was listening to how the white light is available for, like, they say step into the light in Poltergeist. This ties into that too.
Mm-hmm.
That light is available for like 48 hours or something. Is what this woman was saying. She's like the one that the ghost whisperer was based on. She's a real person, and she's not really a medium, but she sees ghosts and can talk to the ghosts and communicate with them directly, face to face.
Okay.
And so she was saying that once the light goes down, the ghost might not know how to get back into it. So she says, well, the light is the same for everybody. So what happens is, what they should do is go to like a mortuary or a hospital and see that light and go into it there if they want to cross over. So that energy can finally disperse off into... I don't know.
So if you're being followed, go to a place
This is just a theory that I've heard. Yeah, no, not if you're being followed, but if you're ready to transition over, because that's what a lot of these mediums say they're doing, is helping the dead transition. Because they had the medium in Poltergeist, the little short lady, step into the light, Carol Ann. That one. And that was her thing, was to like transition them back, but get her back. Yeah, Tangina was her name, right?
Yeah, I understand. Her character.
She survived the first movie.
Mm-hmm. She was in the second one. She made it up to the second one.
Wasn't there 3 of them?
There was 3, but only the girl.
Because Carol Ann died, right?
Carol Ann.
The older sister.
No, okay. So hold on. I'll explain this real quick, because this actually has to do with the curse that stems around the Poltergeist movie. So the girl who plays Carol Ann, she actually passed away from, God, I can't remember what it was now. She had complications. She was about 12 years old. She basically died, I think it was of asphyxiation or something like that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
She had some sort of I can't remember exactly what it was.
Was it a lung disorder or something?
Yeah, I think it was a lung disorder. And she wound up dying when she was about 12.
Was it pneumonia?
No, it wasn't pneumonia.
Are you sure?
It was like I can't remember exactly what it was. It was complications of some sort.
Oh,
it was a complication. She had to go under surgery or something like that for something, and she had complications and died. The older sister that played in the original movie was killed. She was strangled to death just after the movie came out. A little ways after the movie came out, like a month or something. I can't remember if it was like a month to 6 months, I believe. She was strangled to death by her boyfriend.
That's weak.
Yeah, that's weak tea, dude.
Anyway, continue.
Then there was the second movie, which there was a exorcism on the movie set because, and get this, the curse starts because of this exorcism.
Movie they actually did an exorcism.
There was a Native American. There's a Native American in the movie. He's actually Native American.
Yes, and I remember the movie.
He did a Native American cleanse on the studio because because they believe a curse was happening.
Like a sage burning kind of thing when you go around and...
What happened, and the reason this stems from, is because the first movie, when she dives into the pool and all the skeletons come out, apparently
didn't they use real skeletons?
Apparently it's too expensive to buy or to make plastic skeletons, so they had real freaking skeletons. She didn't know at the time that she just dove into a watery pool with a bunch of skeletons, like real human remains.
Okay, guys, so for future reference, if you're going to do a Hollywood movie, find it in your budget to get fake skeletons. You can afford them. Real skeletons apparently will curse your movie.
You can't afford
that thing was only $40. That's almost life size. I mean, it's life size. I'm just a little taller than some people. Come on.
Just do it. Don't do that. But anyway, so he did a cleansing. One of the guys, this one wasn't necessarily
like it worked out if people died afterwards.
Well, what happens next is that an older man, 62, I can't remember. I've never seen the second one or the third one. You gotta bear with me on that one. But there was an old man in the movie.
Yeah,
he was 62.
He was a weird preacher guy.
He died of cancer. He was diagnosed before the movie. He died a little while after the movie of the cancer. The Native American shaman, he died.
Really?
Yeah, he died. He was like 52. He died. I can't remember what he died of. He died of malnourishment.
Malnourishment?
Yeah, he died of malnourishment. And then there was an instance where another one of the stars almost died when a plane crashed into one of the rivers, or into a freaking river.
Well, he almost died?
He almost died. He was
that sounds
he
like
was
he was
one of
not
like
cursed.
he was like one of 27 people or something to walk away. And then there was another
Coach was
star.
canceled.
And then there was another star. I can't remember. This was a more recent one. I can't remember exactly what happened. So it's not important anyways because the last one sucks. So and no one cares about the third movie or the newest one.
I don't think I ever watched. Well, I had to have watched the third movie.
But there were
4 movies I've seen.
There were many things that tied into the idea of the curse. There was just so many things that happened, and it all stems from the fact that they used real human remains in the original. Like,
now, are you sure that's an accurate thing? It's not just a rumor? Because there's a lot of rumors.
It was according to Jo Beth Williams, who was the mother. She said that she didn't know until after the fact that they had used real human remains because she stated that because it was too expensive to make the plastic ones, so they had to use real skeletons.
The plastic ones aren't that expensive. I guess. Well, maybe back then they were. Now with all the people doing professional home haunts and stuff,
yeah.
I mean, they can find some really cool props like going to Cotton Studios. And,
I guess it's probably really cheap if they just killed everyone. There. If they just killed a bunch of people that were extras, supposedly,
so they didn't have to keep paying them,
and just threw them in.
What if it wasn't a curse? What if it was actually just a big conspiracy to stop having to give royalty checks out from the studio to the actors as time progressed?
No. I'm saying that they brought a bunch of extras in and then killed them all and used them as skeletons in the pool.
I guess that would also be cheap. I mean, you don't have to pay them. Just saying. So, okay, Poltergeist movie, great.
Hush money for whoever you had to do it.
You're gonna have to watch. If you guys haven't seen Poltergeist, go watch it. You can find it freaking anywhere. It's probably like $5 at Kmart or something right now.
Yeah, it's not expensive. You can get a bundle pack for number 1 and 2, and then you can buy number 1.
And they don't add 3 in there at all.
Oh no, sorry, it's 2 and 3, and then 1 by itself. So it's not too crazy expensive. It's like $20
probably
all. Yeah, you
bundled, but
it's not too bad.
I mean, it's Amazon. It's probably on Netflix.
The first one is great. Haven't seen the second one or the third one. From what I've looked up, the second one is good.
It is. It's
a good one.
It's pretty good.
The third one you could just skip outright.
I'm going to make you watch the second one, so I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you need to go watch it. It's actually good. It's really good. So, Poltergeist cures things, their TV thing. Go back to the Paranormal Investigators, the whole thing. Well, they called it Poltergeist, though. It's kind of... I mean, I know they call it Poltergeist because things moved around and stuff, and there was like...
I still maintain it was demonic.
I mean, it was a movie, though.
Well, I get it. I think that's the thing is they looked up what things were happening in the world, and they chose that as Poltergeist and demonic.
Let's use this to seg into our next topic, because what's the difference between poltergeist activity and demonic presence in your opinion?
My opinion, the difference between a demonic presence and a poltergeist is that a poltergeist is a single individual spirit that latches on or can latch on to either a house, a location, or a person. A demonic entity or a demonic creature is a spirit that latches on to things around it, including other spirits. It basically like lassoing around their damn necks and keeps them like servants. So essentially, it keeps ghosts, or not ghosts necessarily, but other poltergeist spirits, and it utilizes them for energy, and it uses them to like haunt houses and screw with people.
So it hangs out around hauntings where there are ghost activity to get their energy, maybe.
Yes, it essentially centers around either like ritualistic things.
That sounds a little B-grade movie style.
But the reason I say that is because I think it can utilize it. Well, think about it like this: it's demonic spirits are stuck in one location essentially. Because they're stuck around a ritual site, a sacrificial site, or something that deeply evil happened to draw these things out, essentially.
I'm going to disagree, but I'm going to let you finish.
So if you think about it, I believe that these demonic presences are stuck in these locations. And so they utilize other spirits on horrible things that happen and use them like the statement that poltergeists are gum, and they stick to people. It basically utilizes this to go out and do stuff and somehow maintain some kind of control over them at long distance.
Yeah, because that's the thing about poltergeist too. Like regular hauntings of houses, like ghost hauntings, the ghost stays there. It's stationary. It's stuck in the house or whatever, or wherever it's haunting, or it's linked to an object. It's like tied to it in some kind of, maybe emotional way. I don't know what ghosts. They're probably pure emotion, right?
Poltergeist.
No, ghosts. I mean.
Ghosts, ghosts aren't necessarily emotion.
Because there's residual hauntings, which I think is just like your energy replaying itself over time.
It's like you didn't know you died, essentially.
Ghost. Well, it's not really a ghost with the residual haunting, I think, as much as it's a trace of your energy hanging out.
Yeah, like a projection of yourself left behind. Like your eyes burn to projecting yourself into the air.
So it's like if you put your hand on something and that thing retains the heat from it, from your...
Yeah, essentially.
Because energy, that's what that heat is. It's energy coming off of you.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, that's what I think a residual is that repeating thing. That's why it happens a lot.
And here's the difference between demonic and poltergeist in one way, is that a ghost is a continuous event because it's background noise. You may not notice it. You may not notice it even happening at some points because it's like they don't know they're there and they don't know you're there.
Okay, so what do you say to the people that think that poltergeists aren't even a ghost? It's just someone's telekinetic energy because of frustration and emotion.
Here's the thing is that could be exactly what it is, and people could be confusing demonic pressing people with stress, because what demonic energy does also is it causes stress, fear, and it causes all sorts of heavy emotions around you. It makes you afraid. It puts stress on you, so you start to feel heavy emotions, and maybe it utilizes that to cause you to do things.
I just don't think that a poltergeist is an actual spirit at all. I think that it's just because it doesn't last very long.
No, they're very quick in spurts. That's why
I'm saying it's more likely, if it's a real thing, it's probably that, versus whereas like the house you want to talk about next, that's a demonic presence because it's an intelligent haunting, but it's not really a haunting. It's an infestation.
Well, what I was going to say, that's the difference between demonic and poltergeist. Poltergeist activity, believe it or not, people would think that, oh, this happens for years. It doesn't. Poltergeist activity...
Well, it can happen for years,
it can happen for long periods, but it's not consistent.
It's not linked to a home. It's not linked to a home. Yeah, it's linked to an individual.
It's more spurts. It happens kind of like off and on. It's like choppy. It's very sporadic. And when it gets really extreme, usually there's extreme points where it breaks down and it doesn't do anything for long periods of time. Whereas demonic is a consistent basis. It doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down. It just continues to screw with you all the way through. Yeah, that's my belief on the differences between demonic and poltergeist, is that demonic will just continue to mess with you.
But you think a poltergeist is an actual spirit, though?
I will agree. I will concede that it is probably tied to someone, and that's how it works for demonic.
An actual ghost?
It could be that's exactly what it is, that it's just utilizing those people.
But then it's a misnomer then, because it shouldn't be poltergeist if it's a parapsychological...
Parapsychological?
Pyrokinetic or psychokinetic. If it's psychokinetic happening, it shouldn't be called poltergeist, because the term poltergeist, like I said earlier, is German for noisy ghost.
That's a good point, yeah.
So I can see that they named it that way thinking that it was an actual ghost, but the science of the time, which science of now doesn't agree with ghosts anyway for the most part,
yeah, well,
maybe that's that.
I can concede that.
Okay, so talk about this house then.
Do we have time to talk about this?
We have time.
Big-ass subject.
I kind of own this show. We can get whatever the fuck we want.
All right. Well, the Demon House is a house that was bought and purchased by one Zach Bagans.
Well, recently.
It had previous owners, but this is pertaining because I wanted to say that I'm sorry to Zach Bagans because I once mocked him on our show, and I feel really bad for that because I was not paying attention. I mocked him.
You should be a lot nicer to Zach Baggins. He's got a hard road to hold.
He's actually not a bad person from everything I've read. He's actually kind of a good person.
I've heard him do interviews.
I feel like
really
a very
cool person.
I feel bad.
Okay, that said though, on that first show that he was on, he comes off kind of like a douchebag.
No, I actually liked him more on that one. The most recent one, the show he's doing, this is where I thought he was the douchebag.
Okay, so
unfortunately,
that said, if Zach Baggins really knows him, we don't think he's a douchebag.
No,
I understand that television presence and personality. I'm not like this all the time. He is. All the time. But I know, you got to be able to put some... I'm actually a pretty quiet person until I've been drinking, so...
Yeah, pretty much.
Really, kind of... A lot of guys that do shows like this are quiet people who are kind of socially awkward. I've done a really good job of pushing myself out of that because I was really super socially awkward for my whole life. So I have to break a lot of boundaries just to get up here and talk to you guys at all, even though I don't see you guys too much, in person. It's actually a tough thing to do. So maybe that's what he does to get over the camera.
Potentially, yes.
But
we digress.
Very digress.
We digress.
The
point is we don't hate Zach Bagans. I apologize for my previous statement about him.
Vin Diesel, though,
love you.
Still gonna kick your ass. That's what he says.
No.
That's what he said.
No.
Don't let him lie. This is his fake part of the show.
I am not going to fight with Diesel.
Yes, you are.
No.
I love that. Dun, dun, dun. Can you guys hear that? Any of the special effects that I play? Like this one? That's my joints in the morning because I'm old. Recorded that live. Just kidding. Okay, so this demonic house. This is one where the kid, they took him to the hospital and the doctors and the police saw him crawl up the wall backwards, right?
that's one of the things that's the situation that happened in the house.
Like a lot of like legitimate people saw this guy, this little kid that lived in the house when all this stuff was going on. I don't remember everything that happened because it's been a while since I read up on it or watched anything about it.
So what happens is Latoya Almonds and her mother and her 3 children move in.
Is it
Youngest son
Ammons
7.
or almonds?
I think it's Ammons or I can't. I think it's Almonds.
Ammons.
I want to say Ammons.
Okay. Anyway.
Let's say Ammons. We'll go with Ammons because I can't. I don't know how to pronounce it necessarily. Anyway, so she moves in with 3 kids: a boy 7, another boy 9, and a girl 12. Right. So no, they were there for only a month before stuff started happening.
Yep.
And it was black flies appeared in their they have like a porch, an enclosed porch, and it's the middle of December, and there are these large black flies, like a swarm of them, in this enclosed porch, and it is freezing in Indiana at this time of year. They should not be around, and she couldn't get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was no she could.
That happened in Amityville too. Remember?
Yeah, that's the story of Amityville. And anyway, she could not get rid of them. So time passes, and they keep hearing people walking. Like, they keep hearing people walking through the basement, coming up, a weird door closing, but nothing's happening in the house. But they keep hearing this stuff. And then eventually it comes to the point where her mother, Rosa, wakes up in the middle of the night because she's screaming her head off. Latoya is in her children's room, and her 12-year-old was floating off the bed, completely asleep. They prayed, they did everything they could, and eventually she went back to the bed, and she woke up and no idea what happened.
Okay.
And these were just small things at first. These are things that happens, like the little boys would talk to things that weren't there. And that's one thing that people need to be aware of. A demon will pretend to be a child or your child's friend and talk to them. That's something they enjoy doing. Anyway, so it came to the point where eventually she approached a church, and many of the churches laughed at her and said she was insane. Share, like, everything. We love you guys.
Share, like.
We got 10 minutes left, but share it anyways.
No, we have as much time as I want. I own the podcast.
Fine.
I'm the boss. We can keep going. As long as people want to see it, we'll keep going.
Anyway, so she approaches churches. The churches laugh at her. A lot of them actually wind up laughing at her and saying she's crazy.
Well, yeah, no, I remember that part.
Except one church, which told her, burn incense, pray. They told her to do all these things, and she
Pray.
And she contacted pray. She did.
Oh, God.
It's the Mandela effect. Forget it. Anyway, so eventually she contacts 2 mediums, and these mediums come into her house. They talk to her. They tell her what, how she needs to burn incense. She needs to just do all. Thank you, everyone. And they tell her to burn incense, pray, push the spirits out. But then at the end, they tell her, you have over 200 demons and other spirits in your house.
That's why they call it the demon house.
Yes. That's why it's called the demon house. Over 200 spirits, supposedly.
That's a pretty accurate name, I would say. That's the one they had a picture of, like, the thing in the window, right?
Yes. They say that almost every picture that was taken in that building, you can see a face somewhere in it.
Okay.
Almost every single picture.
So, all this stuff's going on. She goes to get help. They tell her there's a bunch of demons. What happens next? Is that before or after the kid climbs up?
This is where it gets better, and this is why I tell people not to cleanse and not to do these things on your own. Find a professional. Find someone who can help you.
Okay,
because oh no, go ahead. You can explain better than I can.
Well, what I'm saying is, and this might be a different direction than you were going, but they say don't do ghost hunts in your own house.
Yes, no.
It's not a good idea because what will happen is you'll get that attachment because you're paying attention to what's in there now. Because there's been a ton of hauntings and stuff where people say once they stop listening or stop caring about it, it just went away. It left them alone.
Yes, but this is different between a ghost or an intelligent ghost and this.
But
this is
that too, again, you don't want to cleanse it in your house because a lot of things, like demonic infestations. When I've been involved, like when I was in ministry and stuff, when I was involved in exorcisms and stuff, it wasn't this long, drawn-out process if it didn't have to be. Now, some people wanted to keep their attachments. I'll do a whole episode on demonic infestation.
That's actually one of the problems. It actually goes back to when we talked about The Exorcist. The mother did not want to let it go because it was giving her information. And so a lot of people don't want to let it go.
She was playing with the chairs and having a good time with it, got an emotional attachment to this thing.
In The Exorcist.
I know.
When we talked about the fact that she was hurting your son and stuff like that. She was allowing ghosts to hurt her son.
The actual Exorcist story.
She was trying to
get that money. Yeah. And I guess that guy just recently passed away.
Oh, I didn't know.
I found his name somewhere. I have to look it up. Did we do a show on that yet?
Yes, we did The Exorcist.
We did The Exorcist, yeah. The true story of The Exorcist. Okay. So all this stuff's going on. She's trying to get help. She has all these demons in her house. Her kids are floating off beds, all like Ghostbusters. They're crawling up walls in front of cops. Chief
Hold
of
on,
police.
first, that's not yet. That's not yet.
Oh, I haven't got there
You
yet?
jumped the gun on that one.
This is all I remember.
I will explain. Do not worry. So anyway, so essentially, she takes their advice, except for one bit of advice because she didn't have the money to. They told her leave. They said move, get out of this house.
Yeah.
That was the only thing they could tell her that they said would work perfectly is get out because they're not going to leave you alone here.
Yeah.
And so she did the cleansing, which, like I said, don't do it yourself if you don't know how. You're going to mess it up.
It's just better not
And
to do it
unless you're
yourself
going to do
anyway.
it consistently, because here's what happens. The demons, as in every story I've ever heard of, they come back 10 times as hard because they're mad. They
Because
are
now you
mad
pissed
you
them
pushed
off.
them out. And she pushed them out for 3 days. They had silence for 3 days. On the third day, all 3 children by the third day had been possessed. They were sitting there with like that creepy wide-eyed grin with these huge freaking like that grin that's creepy with the big eyes, just sitting there staring at them with these giant smiles on their face.
Just like in Black
demonic
Sun's video.
demonic voices were coming out of them. The little boy, 7, was thrown from the bathroom. It was witnessed being thrown from the bathroom into his little sister who had to get stitches.
Oh, jeez.
Eventually, CPS was called because, aside from that, for instance, the little boy was talking in a closet with a demon. Yes, don't rid your own demons, please. And he was talking to something in the closet that was telling him about what it is to die. Was describing how death is. How being strangled to death and different ways to die. It was telling him what death was and how it felt and things like that. It was describing it to him.
That's not very nice.
Yeah, no, probably not.
That's hella weak.
That's hella tea, dude.
Okay, so what I was going to say is that's one thing too. Why when people do paranormal investigations, I don't like to do the antagonism thing because you don't know what's necessary. You don't necessarily know what's there.
You don't know what you're about to
presence is
piss off.
Exactly. If you start antagonizing a demon, you better expect some repercussions. Okay, it's not like it's a ghost; it can't follow you or bother you. Okay.
If it can move stuff around and throw you around the house, it's probably going to do that even more now.
And if this is another thing too. Like we drink and smoke and stuff and doing the show. Don't ever do any of that while you're doing an investigation of
never
any
be
kind.
impaired.
Anytime you're doing any kind of ghost hunt or investigation, do not open anything up.
If you hear a single person say, "Oh, it's totally great, dude. You should go in there and just smoke something beforehand." No.
Well, think
don't do
about
that.
it. Okay, so like a lot of the old religions and stuff and the old belief systems, you would get intoxicated to get in contact with the paranormal and the supernatural.
And sometimes they would enter your body and speak
And
through you.
exactly.
And you
that's
do
what
not
the
want
sages
these
would do,
things.
and-
But these people were also, I don't know for sure what their qualifications were, but I'm pretty sure they knew at least a little bit what they're doing because their ancestors have been doing it. So they had some understanding. Their own spirit people, if you believe in this stuff, their people were watching over them to take over the body to give them information. This is not your friend. This is not your family.
Exactly. It's
They
like
do not
finding-
want to help you.
If you want to go fishing and you want to try to catch something, you find a fisherman who's been fishing in a spot and catches fish all the time.
Yes.
Ask him what he's doing.
You don't just go start casting.
That's how I found out you can catch rainbow trout with marshmallows. Fat-free marshmallows.
Really?
Works like a charm.
The rainbow colored ones?
They're not rainbow colored. They're just called rainbow
They
trout.
should be there. No, I mean the marshmallows, rainbow colored marshmallows.
No. Regular white fat-free marshmallows. So we were fishing, and we saw this guy who I thought was just some bumpkin hillbilly who was yelling at his kids and being rude. Turns out he had like a stroke, so he couldn't control himself very well. But they were just racking these fish in. I was fishing just down the pond from them. Couldn't catch anything. I'm like, dude, what are you using for bait? I've used everything. Gulp. I used all sorts of the extra, the scent stuff. Oh, I just use these fat-free marshmallows here. Within 20 minutes of using one of those fat-free marshmallows, I had a 12-inch fish.
But that's also one of the reasons. There's a side of me that's always skeptical. It's not that I don't necessarily believe in Ouija boards. It's that I understand that the things that I could contact are not going to be for me. They are not there because they're watching over me and my friends. That often they could be something that is
well,
not.
what about
watching
people that
over
talk
me.
to their angels, man?
That they could have that, and maybe they'd have a great interaction.
And then how do you know that it's an angel and it's not a demon?
That's the point. Is because demons
so
will
maybe
lie
just
the crap
don't
to you.
interact with anything?
That's the point. Just live your life. You don't.
Okay,
need to.
so guys, basically what Jack's saying is ghosts and demons and hauntings are just like the internet. You don't know if that hot 20-year-old vixen is talking on the other line is for real, or if it's some big
You're
hairy
getting catfished by a demon.
Jack-looking mofo catfishing you.
Just rubbing his belly with some oil. Getting ready for that truffle shuffle.
Using those pictures like they're fat-free marshmallows to lure you in. I guess that would be trout fishing,
Anyway.
not catfishing.
So she does the exorcism. Stuff starts going downhill,
Mhm.
and eventually CPS. I don't know about CPS, but they have a case manager.
Keep going.
So they had a case manager that came in. They had to do a psychiatric evaluation on her, and she was found completely competent. She was sane and she was competent, and so there was nothing wrong with her in any way.
Thanks for sharing, Eric.
Thank you, Eric, and Shannon, and Em, and everybody else who shared. Thank
we
you all.
appreciate it. It helps us a lot. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our page either.
Please drop a like. That also helps. That puts us a little higher on the list.
Yeah, it's really good. And it helps us to see, like our page, not just the show, because it helps us kind of get a bearing of, where our viewership is on the live casts. And that helps us figure out things like how bad we should feel about ourselves next day.
But anyway, so you just made me lose my train of thought. Okay, so she was found competent. She was able. She had her kids taken away from this for a short period of time.
In the end, though, the kids were having problems at the CPS place, weren't they?
Yes, they were talking to voices. They were levitating, and eventually, both of the boys started passing out. They had to call a physician, or not the boys. I believe it was the 7-year-old and the 12-year-old. I can't remember specifically which. They were passing out in their mother's arms, and they couldn't stay awake properly. And when they did wake up, they would scream, and they would talk in horrible voices and stuff like that. Eventually, they had to go to the hospital. While in the hospital, okay, so it was a 12 and 9-year-old. While in the hospital, the 7-year-old in a hospital, the Methodist hospital in Indiana, in Gary, Indiana, a Methodist hospital. People witnessed this, I guess, including nurses. The little boy is holding the grandmother's hand, and he walks backwards up the freaking wall, to the ceiling.
In front of police, in front of doctors, in front of nurses.
Doesn't overturn. Yes, flips over, drops flat to his feet, and just stands there, and everybody took off from the room. Everybody ran.
Yeah. And there's incredible eyewitnesses.
May I point something out? The only people who could not run were the unconscious 12 and 9-year-old. They just left in there with the demonically possessed 7-year-old.
That's the kind of quality healthcare you get in America.
That's great parenting. Screw everybody else.
The mom left. That's even better. Like,
apparently everybody left the room. They just ditched the people.
I mean, honestly though, are you gonna hang out? Like,
no, I'm getting out of there, dude.
Fend for yourself, children.
Good luck.
You're like a Spartan dad. Just toss that sucker over the hill.
This is Sparta. Get to it, boy. Wake up and fight for yourself. I'm out of here. Anyway, so the police This is actually where I got some from. Like I said, that YouTuber I mentioned earlier, Paranormal Captivity, another shout out. But she mentioned that the police had come in not believing any of this. The police did not believe this story. They didn't believe that this had happened. And the moment they left the house, they were all believers instantly. Everybody who went into that house for a period of time left believing and having stories and saying this is happening. So this comes back to Zach Bagans. He essentially, I don't even know if he went in the house.
Yeah, no, he went to investigate it.
He went in
and called to him.
It literally, apparently it did so much damage. And this is the guy who's gone to so many different places, and it was so bad to him that he purchased the thing and then bulldozed it.
Well, so what happened was, he feels like what he said was he felt like there was a connection. Like he got something clung to him because he was having nightmares about it. He was having cold sweats and couldn't stop thinking about the damn place. And so he ended up actually purchasing this house. And he made a documentary about it right before he bulldozed that mofo.
Yeah.
Because it was so bad. I haven't seen the documentary yet. I gotta look at it. That's what we should all watch together via the Twitter chat.
We should definitely watch the documentary. We should definitely do it.
Well, we should do it as a Vanishing Gates family. Everybody can get on the chat on our webpage, thevanishinggates.com, because the live chat is up. And then we can all chat together while we watch the show. That would be a freaking awesome idea.
I think that, the interesting thing here is that as a ghost hunter, the one thing that what's up? The one thing that gets me, that really got me about this was that, here's the thing. Zach Bagans is a ghost hunter. He calls him, he's professional. He's seen some things.
The paranormal investigator.
There we go. But here's the interesting thing. Out of everything he's ever seen, out of all the houses he's ever visited, after everything he's ever seen, this is the one place that has literally bothered him the most.
He destroyed it. This is the guy who owns the Dybbuk box.
Have you ever...
That haunted doll with the, what was it, Peggy or whatever?
Yeah.
The one where you watch the video of it and you have a heart attack? He owns all these friggin' haunted, cursed artifacts that he keeps in Vegas in his museum of cursed and haunted things. And he bulldozes this house that he bought because it was so horrible.
This is evil. This is the one time that people said, I'm going to buy this business so I can fire you. I'm going to buy this house so I can get rid of it. He actually did it.
I wonder if he bought that house thinking he was going to turn that into his museum before the Vegas venue.
That could potentially have been it.
I wish I could talk to this guy to ask him. Could you even fathom? Totally see it.
Okay, so say you believe in all this stuff.
Would've.
Say you believe in every single one of those paranormal objects and putting it into this place.
That would be...
The Ghostbusters would be real.
That would be it. You'd have a giant 70-foot marshmallow man walking around. Good gosh.
No,
Yeah.
he won't go back in there because it's gone.
He bulldozed.
He tore that place down as soon as he could. And I think he only did it for a couple months before he finally.
Yeah, it didn't take him long. He went in there, did investigations, filmed his documentary, and just knocked that
sucker down. I will say, as my skeptical side, I will say that it sounds a lot like trying to sell documentary.
You're not the only person that's come across that position, but
it makes too much sense. I mean, think about it. If you bulldoze a place and say, "Oh, it's so haunted," and then bulldoze it so no one can go back in, but you can watch my documentary about it.
You know, I don't know, man. I'm not going to put... He already does something. He works in such a... Like, okay, this job we're doing right here...
He's got enough money.
This realm that we're working in, we're not even out ghost hunting. And we're... You know what I mean? He's working in already the weirdest thing ever. Why would he just do that? People are interested. That's why we're able to do this. Because we suck, and we still have people watch us. No, Bo, these are Pedromo Reserve.
Champagne
noirs.
They smell like weed as soon as you light them up.
Excellent Maduro cigar.
I seriously thought that's what
you can buy at Myrtlewood Liquor, John's Fine Cigars, in Eureka, California, at 1648 Myrtle Avenue. And check their website out, johnsfinecigars.com. You can find these great prices, great selection, great people, awesome humidor. You walk in there, it's like smelling heaven in your face.
For your face. Yeah.
All up in your face. Heaven
for your
all up in your face. Anyway, so
essentially, you know, they had policemen show up. They had that corroborated the story, which is why I can believe Zach Bagans is because they had policemen, they had officers,
they had a ton of
even
people.
Out of the freaking house. They had situations at a hospital. They had situations at
CPS workers were saying, "Hey, no, she's telling the truth. This kid's possessed by the devil."
Up until the point that he bulldozed that place, they were still having exorcisms almost weekly. They were trying to get rid of it. They were trying to get rid of it, but they just couldn't move the stuff. Like they couldn't get rid of these things. And so finally, Zach just bulldozed it. I mean, I guess that's the ultimate.
So I mean, they call it the demon house for a reason. Steph's in Tahoe. He's doing some family thing there. But,
yeah, you missed a call earlier.
Yeah. So here's the thing: the demonic versus poltergeist. Okay, like I've experienced with the demonic because of what I used to do.
This would have been great for that church story. We should have saved it for now.
I'm going to do the church story event. We're going to do a whole podcast on things I've seen in exorcism.
Well, we've already done some of that, so
I know, but I can fill a book with the stuff, and I'm going to write it eventually. I don't know if I want to bring that light to it actually, because some of it, you never know if someone's really possessed or if they're psychotic. And there have been people that I've dealt with that said that thought they were possessed. They came to us looking for help, and I'm like, dude, you just have schizophrenia. Go see a psychologist. And the Warrens did that too many times. They referred people instead of
that's the one thing that made me like the Warrens is that they actually
the rest of it was despicable.
I wasn't sure about them. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not sure about them. What's up? You're
still on Vanishing Gates, buddy, because you're an admin.
Yeah, you're gonna show up as the page itself when you.
I'll let you type now, and I'll just talk.
But you go ahead and type. But so no,
very funny, Bo.
They tried to help people, and they didn't. As far as I know, they didn't charge people. But they did take expensive belongings.
Okay, in fact, but that's like that the haunted collector guy, which I like to call the paranormal pilferer. And I haven't met him, so I shouldn't say that because now I'm working in the same realm, except he's more involved. The paranormal, he just goes to your house and this is haunted. This gold doubloon. I'm gonna have to take that and off your hands.
Except for the fact that guy, I actually read an article about him.
No, he's legit. After making fun of him watching the show the first few times, I'm like, no, come on, son. It turns out he's legit.
Yeah, this 3,000-year-old grandfather clock, we just got to take that because it's haunted. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's the thing, too.
No, Nick.
Doing these... So there was another show on... The guy was The Real Exorcist, or whatever I think was the name of the show. It was on Sci-Fi, I think, for a while. And he was an actual exorcist. That's what he did for a living. It's like what the Warrens did. Because Lorraine Warren is a medium, and Ed was an investigator before he died, God rest his soul. And, I never met the guy, so I don't know him well. I'm reading some books about him, though, and they're pretty cool people.
He's Warren's nephew?
They have Annabelle. Is he really Ed Warren's nephew? I'm going to have to verify that. I don't know in chat.
Go ahead and drop a like on the show, guys.
We'll see. Yeah, don't forget to like the page and like this podcast. That said, he would go out and he'd tell people, too, like, you have a mental problem. And I thought the show was really good.
I'll tell you what.
Because I had done that stuff, and he's doing it the right way.
If you don't mind going for a little bit longer, I can do another story.
Yeah, we're going to keep going as long as we want.
So there's a story about I swear to God, I sent you the name the other day and I just forgot it.
So we're not going to talk about that topic?
No, we're going to talk about it because I just got to, I'll find his name, but I'll talk about it real quick. It was one guy, he's called the Rain Man.
Hi,
I can't
Jessica.
remember his, what's up, everybody? I can't remember his name at the moment, but I did message it to you, so I will look it up. He's called the Rain Man. He was in jail. I don't know what he was in jail for.
Wasn't that a Dustin Hoffman movie? Tom Cruise.
Maybe it is Dustin Hoffman.
And Tom Cruise.
I'm just wrong. It's just Dustin.
I can't wait
Hoffman.
to talk about Colts and talk about Tom Cruise.
Cruise.
Because if I don't say his name right, it's not slander.
That's not.
Sometimes.
Only my wife can call me that. Not that I have a.
All right, so go ahead and do the thing.
Anyway, so the Rain Man, he is called that because when he got out of jail, he got a furlough because his grandfather died.
Okay.
His grandfather used to hurt him, abuse him, things like that. And at the funeral, everybody was talking about how great his grandfather was, and he just couldn't stand it.
I'll be right back, guys. Keep going, I'm listening.
He couldn't stand that people were talking about how great his grandfather was after everything he had done to this man. So he leaves, he goes to a friend's house, and while he's there, it begins to like rain in the house, like inside of the living room. And so what happens next is essentially the water is raining up. It's not raining down, it's raining up. And he had seen upstairs in the bathroom, he'd seen an image of an old man in the mirror looking back at him. Where did he go? Never mind. Okay. Anyway, so what happens next is they essentially just sit there, watch. As this rain goes up, it's freaking them all out. Like, his two friends are freaking out. They call the landlord. Landlord comes over. They're like, a pipe is busted. And he's like, well, first off, the pipes are in the back of the house. They're not in the living room. And then secondly, he said if it was a problem with the pipes, it would be raining down, not up. And so then they decide, I think at this point they called the police to find out what's happening. And he actually leaves the premises. Goes next door to a, what was it? He goes next door to a restaurant, I believe it was. And while he's at the restaurant, it begins to rain up again in the restaurant. And then the neighbors come over, see what's happening, kind of make that correlation, inform the restaurant owner what's happening, and he gets kicked out. He has to go back to his friend's house where it had just stopped raining. And as he enters, it begins to rain again. This time, he's assaulted. He is thrown against a wall. I believe he was levitating. And I think, don't quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, he was talking and like he was speaking kind of gruffly, like in a different voice. So they call the cops because it's raining. He's thrown against a wall. As the cops get there, he is then once again thrown against a wall in front of the cops.
What's up?
And then they find like bruises on his back and stuff. It is at this point that the cops decide that his furlough is almost over anyway, so they decide to take him home early. So they go and they take him back to the prison, where he's sitting in his cell, and it's raining up. And
Wait, it's raining up?
Yes, it's been raining up.
The water's coming up from the... I should have stayed for this story. This sounds weird. Are you sure it wasn't as bad plumbing?
No, I went over that. It wasn't plumbing. It wasn't plumbing at all.
Okay, so continue.
Anyways, so in the jail cell, it's raining up. One of the guards walks by and says, "Make it rain in the warden's office." So the guy, I don't know what the guy does, but a few minutes later, it starts raining up in the warden's office and in his jail cell at the same time. So the jail finally decides to contact a priest.
So is this psychokinetic activity he's doing? Is he like a telekinetic?
He's possessed.
Oh, he's possessed.
He's actually, they believe that his story is he's possessed by his grandfather, and that he just has latent telekinetic abilities potentially, and his grandfather somehow utilizes it.
That would be a bad person to get possessed by a demonic presence, as someone with telekinesis.
His grandfather was supposedly a demonic presence that had possessed him, and so the priest comes in with a Bible, starts exorcising him, and the guy says, and he says in a demonic voice, he says in a demonic voice, I have great powers.
Okay.
And starts making it rain up. And the priest, according to the priest, the Bible, though the water was going around it, would never touch the Bible. The priest finally manages to exorcise him, I believe. And I believe the story ends with the priest finally exorcising him. The events stop. And that's basically where that story ends.
Okay.
So, but it was recorded in the jail, and it was recorded by police officers.
That Bible story reminds me of about the Bible not getting wet. I had a buddy when I was in ministry who was also aspiring to be a minister. Pretty good preacher, different kind of dude. Not a bad guy, just a strange guy. And he had some Mormons come by the house.
Nick is making it hard to be good.
No, he's not.
I have not cussed almost at all this. I think I've done it twice by accident. Nope, I caught myself the first time.
You know what? You can still say it. It's not a lot.
He wasn't here to be
You know,
proud
in
of me.
Hollywood, you get to say the F word once in PG-13
He
movies.
should have been there to be proud of me. That's all I know.
Yeah. So this guy, he has the Mormons come over, and he thought he'd be cocky and arrogant. So again, with arrogance, supernatural things you don't need to be arrogant with. You're human, you're going to die. Everyone's going to die. It's something we do. That's what we're really good at as a species, is dying. We are prolific
Oh my
dyers.
gosh. You know what? We do
Just saying.
that well. You're right.
We do that really well.
Did you hear a statistic that 100% of people who breathe oxygen will eventually die?
I've heard that
That's a
statistic, and I
statistic.
think that it's been
Quote
proven.
me.
I think it's pretty much as accurate as it gets scientifically without there being
Yes.
closed lab results. So he has these Mormons come by, and he gets in this big theological argument in there. And he goes, hey, he has a burn barrel going. He's talking to the Mormon guys, and he goes, tell you what, we'll do a test, trial by fire. Because this guy was very, very, very showy when it came to, theatrical when it came to his relationship with the Lord. And here's what we'll do.
Don Decker.
You throw...
That was the name. Don Decker.
Don Decker was
The
the
Rain Man
Man?
was Don Decker.
I thought it was Dustin,
Greatest name.
Dustin Hoffman.
F-bomb, they're done.
Okay, so they throw the Book of Mormon into the fire, and it burns up. And he goes, see, look. And then he throws his Bible in, and it doesn't burn up. It just gets a little singed. And they pull him out with tongs or whatever. And then, so they do that like 3 times. He's like, let's do it a couple more times. And by the 3rd time, his Bible was just gone. I told him, like, what did you think was going to happen? You're not Samuel. You can't just, like, call down the Lord's fire and, or Elijah, not Samuel.
You know, I know John 3:16 because of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I just thought that was...
Stone Cold or Steve
I just
Austin
thought that John was
3:16.
perpetually late for everything.
The rattlesnake. That's
just
all I
thought-
got.
I thought John was just late for everything. They're trying to remind him.
60 minutes late, John. Again. That's all the Bible passage is about.
It's the 3rd time you're 16 minutes late, John.
It's just a reminder. That's all it was. People got confused. Sad because I.
All right, so Rain Man was Dustin Hoffman.
Don
He can
Decker.
make things rain upwards.
Yep. He was the
Happy
Rain Man.
birthday, Mr. President.
I don't think
Except
those are
that's
the same
wind,
stories.
it's not rain. Although it might have been better if that was rain with Marilyn Monroe. I don't think the Kennedys would have complained at all.
Well, you got to think. How do you make it rain up? I imagine that was a really dirty house afterwards, though.
Well, okay, so that's another thing with like demonic infestations.
Mhm.
A lot of the times, and most people that have done exorcisms or
Could
have
you
been involved in
classify
it.
it as an infestation?
Yeah, I call it infestation.
Because they're more like
Well, because
leeches, right?
they're like a leech. They just suck away your energy and they need to hurt you and they want you to die. They hate you for some reason. There's a biblical reason. I'm not going to get into all that. We'll do a whole episode
They
on
sound really
demonology
polite.
once. I will do an episode on biblical demonology if everybody wants me to. I'm not going to do it unless I get requested to.
What if this
I
is
don't
all the
like going
same,
into it too much.
the same person, just in different areas, which only happens every once in a while, just moving around, screwing with people. It's the same demon.
Well, I mean, they're not finished.
It's just
they can't
so-so.
be- They're not omnipresent. You
Well,
know,
yeah,
demonic presences aren't
I get this.
omnipresent.
Well, that's why I said that they're attached to a location that was based off of something greatly evil,
No,
or
they wander.
a summoning kind of thing.
Yeah, they wander. They can wander around. They can chill. They can hang out. They tend to move. To
You know,
places
I
with
was
a lot of clutter.
as a skeptic, I was really hoping you'd say they stay in one location, so I never have to worry about finding said
That's not how that
demons.
works.
Great.
So, well, it's like walk-ons. Okay, so a walk-on, unlike a demonic,
I hope they don't like me for talking about them. That's gonna go well.
what is the word I'm trying to say here?
I don't know. I don't English with you, so.
I'm not Englishing right now either. Like a walk-on. So a walk-on is a ghost that gets into you. You know what I mean? You get possessed by a ghost temporarily. Like an actual human spirit is what they say a walk-on is. So people will be like at places with a lot of activity, like the Queen Mary. There's a place where people get a lot of walk-ons. And people will just start totally acting different in the group. So they'll be totally normal 1 minute, and the next minute they'll just be like, they're making weird goat noises. I don't know if it's goat noises. I have never seen a walk-on. But the idea is you get them out of that situation, and then they become better already, because what's happened is whatever entity is there has walked into them because they've left something open. That's why they say don't be inebriated when you do paranormal investigations, And I tell you what, right now, the reason I'm not worried about the Ouija board, I know so many college people that get messed up off their butts who play with the Ouija board as a drinking game. Let me tell you something. I mean, they're weird to start with. So how do you quantify that, really?
With math.
So demonic possessions, because there's a different thing between infestations, possessions, and being like tormented. But because there's like a demonic attachment. There's like a spiritual attachment that's different than a possession.
Well, it's kind of like the Einfeld thing, where they were demonically.
I think they were to be a hoax, though, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was eventually like it was theorized to be a hoax.
I think there's actually like the girls came on record and said no, we were making it up.
Well, think about so one of the first recordings of a haunting was back in like 1882, and it was of a poltergeist style haunting.
Oh,
of an intelligent style haunting, and it was like in 1882, and it was these two little girls, and they would essentially they were talking to something, and they would say something to tell this thing to do something, and it would knock out and make like knocking and cracking sounds. So I'm guessing
this happened in Germany.
No, this was I believe. Actually, I'm not sure where it happened.
It would have been in Germany if it's called a poltergeist, right?
Yes, I guess. Yeah, there we go. I'll give it to that. Whatever.
Or maybe a German family.
Anyways, the point is that the thing would make like cracking noises and stuff like that to match what they were saying or doing. It would make like knocking noises. So they'd say this or repeat after me, and then it would knock what they said.
Okay. Like Morse code, which wasn't invented yet.
Not Morse code, but just knock out as many words as they said. So like it would just match their words.
So every time they talk, they'd hear a knock.
Yeah. And so this was documented because the mother came in and she was weirded out, and so she asked the spirit how many children she had, and it knocked out 1, 2, 3 for the first one, and then it knocked out their ages, and then finally it knocked out one more 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
But she didn't have 3 kids because what the other girls didn't know, because she thought the 2 girls were playing a prank on her.
She had a miscarriage or something?
She had had a miscarriage. They didn't know they had a sister before that.
Okay.
That she would have been older, but she would be 3 when she died, and they didn't know this girl. So she never told them. She was waiting until they were older to tell them. So these 2 little girls, they had an older sister and I think an older brother. I think it might have been another older sister. But the town, they brought out information to the town, and the town, they brought all these people over from all over the area.
Hold on a second. Keep on.
And so the neighbors came over to the house, and they had like a bunch of people in there, and these people were asking questions, and the knocks were answering all these questions. It came to the point the next day where roughly like 300 people were at their doorstep. They had stayed the night somewhere else. They got back. There was like 300 people waiting to hear the knocks. And that was kind of like, they were thought to be like the first mediums, I guess. The story is kind of vague on me. It's just something I read in passing. It was something I read in passing. But these knocks followed them throughout their life. Not just them, but their sister, their mother. It followed everybody in the family.
Okay.
These knocks would follow them. And eventually one of the sisters came out and said it was fake. That they'd been able to make the cracking noises. Except she could only mimic very briefly kind of similar sounding knocks with her knuckles and joints and stuff like that. But she could never mimic exactly what it was doing.
So she would like lock her knee funny and move it or something?
Kind of. But they could never fully mimic what it did, like this thing. And on the deathbed of the last one to die was the sister that had made a career out of being a psychic to answer people's questions by asking the spirit things.
And you're talking about the spiritualist sisters?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the ones that freaking Houdini proved wrong.
I think. But I don't know. Like I said, I read this in passing. I read this in passing.
No, I know what you're talking about because Houdini actually debunked them. They were very famous spiritualist sisters, and they do these fake seances, and Houdini went in and just shut them down.
Well, if I remember correctly, the
Houdini stomp.
I didn't read that part. I should have maybe read a little more.
If it's the ones I'm thinking of, that's what they would do. Is they'd hit the table at their knee, and they'd make sure the light. Okay, so if you're in a seance,
they also had an instance where I don't know about that, but I remember one instance to prove themselves that they weren't, or to prove that they weren't lying. They had been. Basically, they'd had their arms strapped behind them, their legs strapped up. They were stead on top of pillows, so they couldn't make knocks.
This is in the 1920s or 1890s or something?
I think it was like the 1890s.
Yeah, these are the girls that Houdini debunked. We should do an episode on Houdini debunking spiritualists.
We should do an episode of him dying because he got punched in the chest or in the stomach.
Anyway, we should do an episode where he debunks these seances, because some seances, man, I'm not saying seances in general are bogus, but during that time period, the spiritualist movement, there was a lot of fakes. Houdini was a fake spiritualist at some point. He did that for a living, and then he goes, this is wrong. and sat out to prove the other ones that are fake.
Well, we should
So
do a
he made a
story
video.
about. We should learn about Houdini and do a whole episode on
We're
Houdini.
gonna do a whole episode on Harry Houdini,
Just screwing with people like I got this.
but we're not gonna focus on his other things. We'll focus on the aspect of him debunking these claims. Now, seances are another way to contact the spirit
I
world.
wasn't quite done yet.
Well, oh, sorry. go ahead.
So on her deathbed,
Jesus, angry beavers.
that's right. On her deathbed,
Want
she
some
was
Midol?
she was noticed. She couldn't move. The doctor talked about it. She couldn't move. She couldn't make knockings. You're an ass.
I was
And
going to make a Menahult joke.
Just caught that. Shut up. Anyway, so she couldn't move. She was really old, and at the point she couldn't move her legs, she couldn't move her arms or anything like that. And she was talking to something in the room, and it was answering a knocks, like on
Okay.
her deathbed.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And that's one of the things that made
Creepy.
people believe that it was real because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, there you
I mean,
are.
it's on her deathbed, then yeah, it'd be kind of hard to... Anyhow.
She died a little while after that, really. She was, yeah, well, it was her deathbed, so, you know.
So you talk about, like, the hauntings of, like, we were talking about ghosts, poltergeist, and demonic, the difference between all those things. We've talked about a little bit, we touched briefly on the... Brain freeze.
A lot of freaking things.
brain
We've
freeze.
talked about a lot.
No, I'm trying to think of the repeating phantasms, the
Repeating bed.
residual energy. We talked about that for a minute. So what about shadow people? Where do they fit in all this, man?
We've already done Shadow People.
No, not on this show. We've done a show on shadow people, but where do you think they fit in with this? Because you see them, are they demonic? Are they ghosts? Are they a different thing altogether we don't know about?
I would theorize if you talk about that, if demons can wander, as you say, I think it's...
Because I don't remember what we ever came to
I
to
still
believe about
believe
shadow
what I
people
say
in
is that
episode.
it's not multiple shadow people. I think it's one particular. It's potentially
Well, people
one.
see more than one at a time, though.
It's
But
because
I've
this
seen
could be one
groups of
thing that's capable of manipulating you to think you're seeing multiple things.
Well,
it
what
could
if-
be one thing.
Maybe it's interdimensional, because shadow people don't attack people. You know what I mean? It's not something that's recorded outside of night terrors. And then there's usually that Hat Man. So what if the shadow people are this group of another group of energetic beings who dwell with us that we don't see all the time because the spectrum's light? And what if the Hat Man is a demonic presence using their energy?
like a shepherd,
Like, well, no, like a I guess like a shepherd.
like a demonic
More like
shepherd.
a slave owner, I would think.
Well, that's not political.
Well, no, because, I mean, if you enslave something, you enslave something. What are you talking about? If you have a pet, you're a slave owner. Sorry, you make it do what you want. It's there for your entertainment.
Turn.
Correct? We're not politically correct
I
here.
agree.
We're an apolitical podcast.
I'll
I was
give you
talking
that.
with the term slave and it's a word. Sorry, it's a thing.
It's spirits he's entrapped and he utilizes to scare people. Essentially,
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's what he's doing. Because anytime, like with the night terrors, where people actually get hurt or harmed or have a physical problem, like the chest, like the old hag syndrome, I'm wondering if that's because they usually end up seeing the shadow. That's when the Hat Man usually shows up. Because I've never seen a Hat Man. I've seen tons of shadow people. Seen
Isn't
all the
the
time.
Hat Man like a death omen though too?
No, I don't think so. It's no, because people that have night terrors see the Hat Man. So I'm thinking that if this is like right, your idea that these things are the demonic presence of using ghosts and stuff to grab their energy.
Shannon, I believe it is cats that own you, not dogs.
Yeah, it's the other way around with cats. With dogs, it's just how it is.
Cats have servants; they don't have owners.
Yeah, that's why I don't own cats. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like these Hat Men, maybe they're a demonic entity that's controlling these shadow people because they're close and there's no ghosts to haunt.
Potentially,
in a house, because people that have night terrors and they see these things, and these sleep visitations, if you will, they're seeing these shadow figures, but the lead guy, they can tell he's the lead thing, is the Hat Man, the guy with the brimmed hat.
Well, like I said last time when we talked about this, is I think they're an amorphous figure. I think they're an amorphous thing. They're more like a malevolent spirit.
They're non-human.
They don't have they don't have an actual visage that we know of, I'm sure. And what it is they simply just take on whatever scares you the most. They will take on that form. It's not that they're not demons. They're not like the Wraith. They're not things like that. But they become something that you are afraid of.
Again, I don't.
They
feed off your energy too. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, essentially, they're trying to scare you. I think a lot of these spirits are just trying to get enough energy to either cross over or do something.
You know, the more I think about it, the less I believe that about shadow people. Like, I've never had an issue where they attack me, or when I've seen them.
They don't need to.
It's always been leery, but it's never been like, oh, it's a demon. But with a demon, I feel a difference.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying, is they may not be demons. They may be something trying to cross over.
I think they're a completely different spiritual being. I don't think they're anything to do with humans or demons.
Maybe they're trying not to. Maybe one of the reasons they appear as people a lot of times is because they're not necessarily trying to scare you, but they also can't fully appear. So they're trying to not scare you.
I think that's their look. I think they're solid. They could be interdimensional because Maybe they're just crossing through planes of existence. I'm telling you, man, like, I've never had a problem with them. What I
just need
think
Tom
is,
Cruise to explain this.
I think, and I'm going to agree with you about the demon thing, using, like, haunts and stuff, and getting that energy, and taking that and using that to their endeavor. I think that maybe what's going on with the Hat Man. Maybe the Hat Man, because the Hat Man is slightly different, because he has red eyes usually, and you can kind of see some facial things, but not the whole. It's not like a total shadow person, which you can't see much detail. They're just a shadowy, amorphous blob that looks kind of humanoid. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe this demonic presence, much like in demonic hauntings, when like there'll be a haunting, a residual haunting or something, or the house is haunted, and things don't change for the worse until something happens in the house. Someone brings that demonic presence in.
It could be.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not savvy on shadow people too much, but
This experience, I've never had a problem with them personally.
well, they may not be evil. They may not be malevolent.
I think they're just there. I think that if anything, they could be maybe they're residual because they move in certain ways. But I'm not going to say that directly because I've seen them do different things. It seems like they're an intelligent creature.
Well, like, okay, for instance, I don't sleep in my living room. Like, I won't sleep in my living room downstairs. I don't like it.
You won't even house sit for me.
Yeah, of course not. His
My
house is
isn't
creepy.
haunted.
It's creepy.
It's not creepy. It's a very nice home. It was made in the 50s.
It is
The
a nice
guy
home.
who I rent from, his dad built it.
It's a nice house.
It's a very nice house. Nothing bad
It
happens
just
here.
creeps me the hell out.
Yet you'll sit in the garage because it's detached in our Vanishing Gate studio and make a podcast about the paranormal, the unexplained. And we're talking about demons right now.
Well, we could talk about Project MK.
No. Nope. Not doing that.
We could talk about Dogman.
No.
No.
We're not doing that.
Okay.
No. Because every time we talk about those, internet crashes.
Something bad happens.
Something terrible happens.
You notice everything's gone fine now.
Oh, look, now we're at 2 viewers. Thanks, Jack.
Damn it.
Anyway, guys, so what do you guys think? Tell us in the comments. Have you had experiences with demonic presence, haunted houses, poltergeist activity? Like, okay, so poltergeist activity, I've told this story before. I was in my uncle's front room. My mother has had the same experience at a different time, sitting in my uncle's front room with his wife, and I see a picture out of the corner of my eye, like the living room, the couch is set up, there's one couch here, along that wall there's one couch here, and then on this wall over here, there's a picture hanging up. And Uncle and Aunt are sitting here, I'm sitting here on this couch, and we're BSing about something. I'm waiting for my cousin so we can go do something. I don't remember what, but I see, not really peripheral, but like, you know, in between the front of your vision and your peripheral. So it's not full peripheral vision. I guess it technically is peripheral vision. It's not far enough away where I couldn't see it fully. I had a
you could
full
see
look
it.
at it. Yeah, but I could have a full image in my eye. But this picture lifts itself up off the wall like this, like comes up, and sits back down slowly off the wall, like unhooked itself, went up, sat back down, and hooked itself. And my uncle, he goes, "Oh, saw that, did you?" Like, apparently. So, I mean, would that be poltergeist activity? I guess it would have to be because it's something moving, right? I mean, it could be demonic or poltergeist. So, ghosts.
I'm not saying
hauntings,
it's I don't think it's impossible that ghosts could do it.
Well, we know it's not residual because they hung that picture up.
Well, let's put it like, okay, so let's say this, for instance, when you start messing with a house or changing something, a ghost might become more aggressive. It might notice things, and so it becomes a little more aware.
Okay, so
maybe it becomes a poltergeist.
Again, I think that poltergeist activity overall is psychokinetic. I think it's psychokinetic. I don't think it's a ghost at all. Now, I'm wondering if some of those activities, because there was nobody in that house at the time who matched the normal poltergeist activity kind of spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where that would be someone that gets them. I'm wondering if we're mislabeling ghosts because we're much more used to seeing poltergeist activity, quote unquote, through the telekinetic thing. And so the ghost activity, ghosts can do these things, but they just don't. You know, like it's not really their.
I don't think they're aware enough to do it.
But then again, if ghosts have that much power, they can pick a picture up and move it back and forth off the wall. Where are they getting that energy from?
The people in the room.
Okay, there's 3 of us, but I mean, they had activity there. Like cousin was talking about at the foot of his bed, he'd see somebody there all the time.
Well, the question is, what are you doing? Like, when you're asleep, you don't really have emotional control. You could be having a nightmare. You could be having a good dream. You're having emotions while you're asleep. You just don't know it.
Okay, but this is something that happened for years. I guess, it's still happening apparently in chat. Thank you. And so I'm thinking that maybe ghosts can kind of do stuff. Oh, we have a story here. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this live. My parents had a house built. When I was younger, I fell asleep in the living room. I woke up to a Native American drum sound. My sister's voice was calling me outside to find her because she was lost in the woods. I was the only one home. They were in town about 30 minutes away. Ooh, good one, Shannon. Thank you. That's awesome.
That's creepy as all heck.
That is creepy. That reminds me of that creepypasta, or no, it's one of those short stories, like the 3-sentence stories or whatever. I heard my mom calling me down the stairs. I got halfway down the stairs, and I heard my mom calling from the top of the stairs, don't go down there.
But that may not be a ghost.
Well, that could be a demonic presence.
No, it could be a Wendigo.
A Wendigo?
Wendigo are Native American legends, and they mimic our voices. Did it sound really weird? Did it sound distorted, like kind of like she was in a radio or something, or was it perfectly her voice? Because if it sounds kind of distorted, that might be a Wendigo.
Well, the Wendigo voice comes in the wind, like the old Defago story.
I think that's why they sound really weird, right? Because they don't
come with the wind.
It's not coming out of the. People think it's coming out of the vocal cords, but it's actually coming off.
A ventriloquist.
It's a ventriloquist.
That's a good comment in the chat. No, yeah, the Wendigo thing, though, but that's something we really, really need to go more.
It'd be really weird if it was in a town.
We actually didn't do a Wendigo show, did we? We mentioned it.
No. Yeah. No.
No, we did a. No, we didn't. I don't think we did a Wendigo show.
Did we? Wow, we know nothing of our catalog.
Well, we've been doing this for what? This is month 4 almost. We're, 27 episodes in?
This is like 29.
I don't think we're at 29. I think we're like 28. 28? Still.
28.
It's a lot of episodes to remember, guys. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
Don't forget to go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, and check out our back catalog. I've shared most of those to the Facebook page, and so check those out, too. The more views we get, the more we go, oh, more stories. Later, my husband and I moved into the same house. I fell asleep in the master bedroom after my college classes. The same thing happened, except it was...
It was my husband's
youngest son asking me to do the same. He was in town at his preschool. We can't see the full thing. Let's see if I can move this over so we can actually see the chat. Oh, there we go. Ha! Now we can see it. Perfect sounds. Okay, so it wasn't a broken up sound or a Wendigo sound, so maybe it was a demonic presence calling you out.
Maybe it was trying to get you to move.
Maybe. Oh, maybe. Well, no, because it wouldn't have just happened.
Maybe it was trying to sit on, like if you were in the couch or something. Maybe it was wanting to get into bed and you were in its spot.
Well, she had the same thing happen twice. Her sister calling her outside, and then years later she moved into the house with her husband, and she thought she heard her husband's son calling at her, but her husband's son was out of town in preschool. But she's hearing this again. So I don't know. That's interesting, and it was clear and perfect sound.
That's pretty cool.
That's intriguing.
That's cool / not cool, depending on if you're there or not.
I would say don't go there. Just don't do what it says.
Yeah, don't listen. It's probably not a good idea.
It's not a very intelligent one if it knows that you're not there. Years and years apart, she says.
Unless it's a spirit guide using a trusted voice to try and get you out of danger.
Well, she clearly wasn't in danger if she's still here.
You don't know that.
She didn't heed the...
Did something fall on you? Like maybe
don't go into the woods. It sounds like it was freaky. So, yeah, I mean, now there's been places, I'm not a medium, I'm not a psychic, I don't even think that I would pacify myself by saying that I'm sensitive, okay? Like, maybe, I mean, because of what I did before at one point, like, I can, maybe it's a connection there. Like I said, I'll do a whole episode on exorcism stuff. But there's been places where I can't even walk in the front door of a house. Like, the whole body just stops, and it's like something is pulling me away from that
Let me put it like this. There are places like I was walking in one of our local towns. I was walking down one of the streets, and there's an old factory building in town I didn't know existed. It was like I don't know where the heck I was.
Here?
Yeah, there was this old building. It was like a large old warehouse. Maybe it was like a warehouse building.
Maybe.
But it had like windows and stuff on the top, so I thought it was a factory. But anyways, I walked by it, and I was walking on the street with it. I got one look at that building. The
you
first
and
thought
the
in my head
building
was,
were walking down the street together?
I was walking by the building on the same side of the street. With it on the side of the street.
Oh, okay.
On the same side of the street. It was on the side of the street I was walking on. And I finally walked across the street because I got this horrible feeling that I should not walk right next to this building.
More continuation of the story. The first time I went through turning all the lights on in the house. The second time, my parents had moved in next door. I hauled ass next door to tell my mom. Good call, kid. Good call.
There you go.
All right, so continue the story.
Anyway, so basically the building just creeped me the hell out. And I just walked across. I crossed the street before I even got close to the building. For whatever reason, it gave me an ominous feeling, and I just walked across the street. And I've walked by bigger buildings than that, with like that looked more run down with no issues. But that building at the time just like freaked me out, and I did not want to be near it.
Oh yeah, dude. No, like I said, I was trying to do some urban exploration before that was a thing.
Yeah, that just sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, there's this house in town actually. And this is one of the hardest ones for me to try to explain how I felt, because it was one of the most physically crippling things I've ever had happen to me. And I've been pretty drunk. Lots of times. And
So mentally crippling as
I'm
well.
telling you. Oh, no, it was emotionally crippling and physically. It encompassed everything. Spiritually, you can feel it inside, something in your heart. This was way before I was even involved in ministry or anything, before I had anything to do with the paranormal stuff. I was going to this house. I knew it was abandoned, and I was going to go check it out because I wanted to explore it. You know, it still had stuff in it, but no one had lived there forever. I can show you the house. It's still there to this day. And I don't know if anybody lives there anymore now, but I go up to the door, and it's daytime, broad day. You know, I'm like, I'm going to go in there. Door's open. I'm going to check it out. I start walking up. I get past the sidewalk, no problem. I get to the threshold of the porch. They had like a semi-enclosed porch. And I hit that threshold, and my foot, I just couldn't move. I got right there, and it was like, nope. Something's like, don't do that. Don't go in there. Just stop. And I couldn't move. I tried to move forward, and I could not do it. I physically was restrained, and then emotionally I got restrained.
You know,
I started getting like worried. I'm like, I can pass through this. I'm trying to force myself. I'm a strong guy.
Yeah.
I've always been a very physically strong person. You know, just our genetics, we have a strong build. And not to be braggy, it's natural. I can't control it. It just happened. Don't hate me for it.
I'll hate you for it. Don't worry about it.
Irish
I'll
Norwegian
hate him
privilege.
for you.
Irish Norwegian privilege. And I'm a ginger on top of that. So I should have been able to fireball into that bastard. But I couldn't get to the door. It felt like I was walking through, like, trying to walk through a trampoline or something. I was just getting forced back. And then this crippling sense of horror filled me and dread. And I'm just going to back up. I can move backwards. I could walk one step forward again and get to the door, or the threshold, and I couldn't get any further than that. It was almost as I was walking into a glass panel, but it was just this barrier that I couldn't see, an invisible barrier that kept me from going in there. To this day, I don't know what's in there. I don't know what happened there. I don't know anything about that house. I should probably look that up, actually. I know where it's at. I can go there right now. It would take me 2 minutes to get to that house.
That actually probably goes back to the fact that, like, if you get hypnotized, a hypnotist can't make you hurt yourself. People, that's a misnomer. No matter how good a hypnotist, they cannot make you hurt yourself.
That's not true.
Your body has blocks and stops. Like, if you got to an edge, they could not make you walk off.
Not true.
Because you have a natural instinct to not do it.
Not true.
The animal in you does not. The id, I think it is.
Lizard
the
brain.
id does not let you walk off.
The lizard brain stops you from going and doing these things.
Yes, it'll stop you. It should, anyways.
Well, okay. Well, then suicide wouldn't be a thing.
Why does that? People would. When you lose it enough, your brain can break, I imagine, and it just goes back to that topic we don't talk about anymore because it's a curse.
Okay, so in chat they say hypnosis can't make you do anything you wouldn't do. I don't know. I've seen some of these guys dance like chickens and take their clothes off.
I would do that.
I mean, I would do that, so it wouldn't be a surprise. But like I said, I'm always surprised when someone hasn't seen my ass. You know? I'm just saying.
Oh, thanks for dredging up those memories.
That's why I wear a kilt.
You need to wear a towel. A bigger towel.
Kilted for their pleasure.
Oh, for the love of God.
That's my motto. I'm not wearing my kilt tonight. I'll wear it next show.
You know, I've seen a guy wearing a utility kilt at one of our local stores. It's awesome. I was really sad.
I see kilts all the time, man. I love it.
It's sad. I wish that was an option.
They make them in your size.
They do?
Yeah, Sport Kilt makes one of your size.
We just went from paranormal to kilts.
How? It's a kilt. It's a Highland kilt you'd wear that like a blanket.
Oy.
30 yards of fabric, I'm sure that would cover you.
It might, yeah.
Have you ever seen a super skinny Scottish guy in an old movie?
Have you ever seen
Braveheart? Brendan Gleeson is bigger than you. And he wore that kilt, and
And he's a great actor, too.
He's also Irish.
He's also a really great actor.
Yeah, he is.
I
love Brendan Gleeson's acting. In Bruges, one of the best movies ever made.
Funniest person.
Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, amazing. Brendan Gleeson and Lake Placid. We should do a horror movie roundup one day and just talk about all the great horror movies we've seen. It's one of my favorites.
That
Betty White.
Oh, Betty White.
So hot in that movie.
Such a not MILF.
She's a gilf and a half, bro. I'd hit that.
I don't think you're in her league. I think she's way out of your league.
She wouldn't even call me.
You have closer ratings to Heidi Klum than Betty White, bro.
I would say I could get Kim Kardashian before that, but everybody could do that. So just throwing that out.
This has just gone downhill all of a sudden.
We do an hour show, and we're an hour and 40 minutes into it. So we're doing all right.
Did we even have the content for this? When we started this, I was talking about what we had, and it's like, oh crap.
You were all worried thinking we're not going to be able to do a full hour show.
You're just lucky I actually did research this time and memorized it.
We were a talk show, and I'm a talker.
That's what we do.
This is kind of
we talk.
Anyway, so I think we should wrap it up, though. The folks at home, thank you for watching. Let's do this real quick. I want to do another shout-out to Myrtle Woodliquor, John's Fine Cigars. If you guys want some of these Padromos, go there and buy them. Tell them Vanishing Gate sent you. That will help us a lot.
And our nice our horror studio guy?
Yeah, that's the nice thing. But make sure you tell them Vanishing Gates sent you. Next thing I want you to do is go check out Cotton Studios on Facebook. Like their page, send them a message, tell them you heard it about him on Vanishing Gates, and buy some of Jason's creations. He makes some cool stuff, guys. He makes some really cool stuff. We got Halloween coming up. It's time to start getting ready for that. Mother's Day even. Well, that passed.
Yes.
Is there another gift-giving holiday? Can America Day be a gift-giving holiday?
Every day could just be a gift-giving day.
It can be. You guys can give me gifts all the time.
All the time. We need a P.O. box for that, though.
You can send me gifts. I won't even complain.
We need a P.O. box for that.
No, they can just send to my address. If you guys want to send me something cool for free, message me and I'll send you my address.
Don't do that.
If you want to send erotic fan fiction to Jack, Shannon, the page again is Cotton Studios. It's on Facebook. Like him, subscribe, and let him know that you came from us. That way he knows that people are watching. Because he's a cool guy, and I got involved in this haunt community a while back on Facebook because I do yard haunt anyway. I haven't done a full home haunt yet.
Yeah.
We might do a Vanishing Gates haunt this year, which would be really cool because we're not going to have our local haunt running.
What happened to it?
They just shut it down this year.
Rude.
They're not doing it. Then the Coast Guard doesn't do theirs anymore. So there's one more haunt here. I got to go talk to that guy in a few months. We're going to try to have some haunters on, some guys that do pro haunts and stuff from around the country on the show to try to give them some publicity too and have them talk about their haunt. Most of these are charitable events. And a lot of these are free and just donation only. Some of them cost something, but they go to a good cause. Haunters raise money for people in their community, and they do a really good job about it.
Well, that's good.
And so we'll try to get some of those guys on as we get closer to October. I know it seems premature to some people. For me, haunt season started 2 months ago. I was planning for Halloween. I mean, as you can tell, I got to start getting more stuff because most of it went to this backdrop for this wonderful show we're doing. So yeah, check out Jason's work at Cotton Studios. He's awesome. He makes some really cool stuff. Go buy a worm at least. You know, they're really cool. You can hang them on your wall in a plaque. Really awesome. Who else we got to talk about? Marciano the Magnificent. Give him a shout out on Facebook if you ever need a magician, illusionist, comedian extraordinaire.
He's good.
Extraordinish. He's an extraordinish. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Yes,
to our Facebook page. Do that first. Don't forget to check out our Patreon. Check out our website, vanishinggates.com. Get involved in the chat there. And at least sign up for the chat program we're using because we want to do a movie with you guys where we're all watching the same movie together and we can chat back and forth live while we're doing it. Contests. Don't forget to send your banner things in and your screams. We need your scary movie style screams for our soundboard. Yeah, gotta remember that delay.
Yeah, you gotta remember that delay.
But Patreon, we need that because we need money so we can get this podcast going better. Yeah. So thanks guys for watching. Again, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Standard Time.
Also, real quick, if you go to vanishinggates.com, it says Vanishing Gates currently. It says our Gmail on the site is Vanishing Gates. Not vanishing, vashing.
It's a Nick job. Nick, if you're watching, please fix that. I love you.
We love you, Nick.
You're such a pretty man.
You got a pretty mouth.
What else? There was more. There wasn't more. So, guys, don't forget to tune in next week. Let us know if the 7 o'clock thing works. Maybe we'll move to 8. We had more viewers after 8. Maybe we should just do that. But don't forget to set your notifications to get that when we go live. And we should have more stuff. You notice tonight we actually have our logo up in the corner, our title, Vanishing Gates, because we have this new program that lets us do that. I'm going to be messing with that tonight some more, trying to add some more stuff to it.
They don't need to know that.
Oh, they do need to know that because we're going to be able to do picture-in-picture phone calls, Skype calls.
Oh,
that's going to be our goal. Maybe Skype. I don't know.
All right. Well.
Anyway, guys, yeah. For Seth, I'm Jay, and this is
30-second delay, Jack.
30-second delay, Jack. That's the most humbling thing, the most humbling pseudonym you've given yourself the entire time we've been running this broadcast.
The Amazing.
There he goes again. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit us up next week. Follow us on Twitter. Do all those fun things. Oh, the last thing I was going to say is, if you're looking for more podcasts to listen to, there's a great guy I've been talking to. He actually responded to my messages because he's really cool. And his podcast, you can like him on Facebook. Also tell him Vanishing Gates sent you. Tell him. And it's the Nighttime Podcast on Facebook. The guy name is Jordan. He's in Nova Scotia, and he's freaking awesome. He does a really good show. You can find it on Spotify and wherever else. So hit him up. Don't forget to tell him Vanishing Gates sent you. Tell everybody that you go to that I tell you about Vanishing Gates sent you. That helps this show, and it helps us bring you better content. Preferably. Truffle Shuffle next week.
Yeah.
Again, for Seth, I'm Jay, and this is
30-second delay.
We'll be doing the Truffle Shuffle next week for your viewing displeasure.
Apparently,
That's how you pay $10.
I'm a hairy fat man. They're gonna make dance with the shirt off. That's gonna go great.
What's up, shirt off?
Oh God.
All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Do your thing.
Bye, everybody.